Hello, chat. Oh, what? I forgot
Shalom, afalatulikam.
the other Fujis are still up.
I mean, what?
Hi, everybody. How's it going? Hope everyone's
I've
having a
seen
good
other-
day, good night, good evening, whatever time it is. As usual, we have brought our elf back. The guards have released them from prison finally.
No, I'm still in my bunker.
I'm still in the bunker.
Yes,
Okay.
look, Santa, look, I'm gonna be in a bunker in an undisclosed location until after Christmas. Because Santa is looking for slaves to, do a slave trade.
Fair. And fair warning, chat.
Yeah, you better be careful too. You got antlers and shit. I mean, he gets a red nose on you, you're done.
Yeah, I know. Fair warning, chat, my model is going to be a little more stiff than usual. I know I'm not super, active already, but I hurt my neck the other day, and I've kind of got myself in, a makeshift neck brace right now.
Your model does look like a stroke victim right now. One of your eyes keeps drooping and stuff, it's kind of funny.
But sorry, chat, my neck just hurts. I can't really... If I turn, I have to turn, my whole chair to look side to side.
No, you did that freaking thing. Where you sleep wrong, and that's honestly, one of the worst ways to injure your neck.
Yeah, it's feeling wonderful right now. But chat, today, we have a lawsuit. A lol suit, if you will. Mizkif is suing Imaru, Asmongold, and I don't know why it's not mentioned on this tweet, but also the company OTK for a couple different things.
I got a full list of parties here. Hold on. Imaru, Asmongold, OTK, Mythic, and True Gaming.
Yeah. I will say OTK and Mythic probably put themselves in a position where he felt like he had to sue, because they're asking for ridiculous amounts of money from him for management services.
That's kind of the thing. There's a lot of reference. We actually, I managed to get the PDF for the second notice of termination and buyout or buyback or repurchase. So that there's a lot of references to different agreements and stuff like that Mizkif has obviously signed, and so we have, if this survives a motion to dismiss, in regards to OTK and Mythic at the very least, we have some messy litigation coming. We have countersuits incoming. It's not going to end well for either Mizkif or for these companies if it gets through a motion to dismiss.
Yeah, my excitement with the two companies, if they don't drop this, is us getting to see what the actual contract is and what their actual services are. Because that's the thing, they're going to have to, if you show up to court suing for services rendered, you're going to have to tell people what services were rendered. And you can't just be like, oh yeah, it's just, it's just management stuff, dude, just, you're going to have to list out what you did.
Yeah, we'll get to see at least a lot of that, I imagine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to get a clearer view on what these companies actually consider management and how much they're actually doing for talents. That would be super interesting. Magma Fox for 6 months. Hoi Hoi 6 months. Royan is a Psycha sibling now. The Psycha virus spreads. It does.
Did I was seen in my suggestion feeds Psycha models I've never even seen, don't know them, but they're just showing up in my suggested.
Yeah. So chat, we are going to read through the complaint, and don't worry, the complaint is only 12 pages. However, that hasn't stopped half of Twitter from commenting on this without reading any of it.
Pretty much, yeah. Or at least reading a couple fucking lines and going, yeah, I know everything about this lawsuit. Guys, it's not hard to get through, but Jesus Christ, there's only 3 things being charged, and it's separated amongst 5 parties that are acting as the quote-unquote defendants / respondents.
Yeah. Because My big issue is I'm reading through Twitter and everybody is just coming in and being like, huh, Mizkif is a retard filing a lawsuit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Look, I don't know how this lawsuit would go. If I had to put money on it, I would put money against Mizkif winning. However, everybody is just saying whatever comes to their mind without knowing anything about legal anything. I thought Mythic got a cut from sponsorships.
It's not...
I don't... Mythic is claiming like 5%.
Again, we don't know the details about it.
Mythic is claiming like 5% of his earnings or something. It said it in like the full OTK message, basically. Which it's weird, by the way, that the OTK letter includes Mythic in it. Because you would think it would be two separate companies with two separate things.
It's so funny because there's been that ret that's going around that, you know, Mythic and OTK and True Gaming Labs are all connected. And yeah, that's kind of like an open secret. People knew it, but like people were giving me the craziest connections going, this is proof. I'm like, guys, this does not meet the standard. Last night I admitted, I'm like, okay, this letter, there's your fucking proof. To anybody who wants that ret theory that, oh my god, these companies are connected. Well, they're all doing correspondence through OTK's fucking correspondence with Mizkif instead of separately. That's fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
And there's your link.
So says the original complaint. Come now plaintiffs Matthew Ronaldo and Mizkif Enterprises LLC, collectively plaintiffs, complaining of and about Emily Beth Schunk, Zach Hoyt, OTK Media, One True King, Mythic Talent Management, further referred to as Mythic, and King Gaming Labs Incorporated, further referred to as King, collectively defendants. Plaintiffs respectfully show the court. Parties, jurisdiction, and venue. Matthew Ronaldo is a natural person and a resident of Los Angeles, California. Mizkif Enterprises LLC is a limited liability company. Ronaldo is the sole member of Mizkif Enterprises, according to Mizkif Enterprises. Accordingly, Mizkif Enterprises is a citizen of California for purposes of diversity jurisdiction. OTK is a Delaware corporation with its principal place of business in Austin, Texas. So this is how we get to Texas, by the way, is OTK. Accordingly, OTK is a
party is lives in or is based in Texas.
Does Mizkif live in Texas? It says natural resident of California.
He moved after breaking up with Emerald. Yeah,
Fair.
He is a resident of California, but when he entered into this relationship with, be it Emerald, with OTK, Mythic, with all these people, he was living in Texas.
Akko for 5. It's not weird to me. I've known this for a while. They are connected. It's a conspiracy ban. I had email.
Oh, so what's funny is because he does now live in California, he could have filed there, but it would not survive an anti-slap motion. In Texas, it's in the 5th district. Any state in the 5th district does not have to worry about anti-slap measures because they don't exist there.
OTK is a Delaware corporation with its principal place of business in Austin, Texas. Accordingly, OTK is a citizen of Delaware and of Texas for the purposes of diversity jurisdiction. OTK may be served with process through its registered agent for services, Mohammed Araba. I'm not even trying, sorry.
I gave up as well.
Mythic is a Delaware corporation. Why are all of these in Delaware? Doesn't Delaware have like good laws?
To start an LLC. Well, no, it's very easy to start a corporation or an LLC in Delaware and then just have its primary place of business or residence in a different state. It's very common that you'll see this, especially with online companies, VTubing companies and stuff like that. You see, why the fuck does Delaware keep popping up? Well, because it's fucking Delaware. It's easy to start shit up there.
Fair. Accordingly, it is a citizen of Delaware and of Texas for purposes of diversity jurisdiction. Mythic may be served with process through its registered agent for service. Also, Muhammad, whatever.
Oh yeah, by the way, summons have been issued for all parties.
Gotcha. King is a Delaware corporation with its principal place of business in Texas. Accordingly, it is a citizen of Delaware and Texas for the purposes of diversity jurisdiction. King may be served with process through its registered agent. Oh, this is a different one. Nicholas Danker. Is that
Yeah, don't read out the
Dankner?
addresses,
Sorry,
by the way.
Dankner. Skunk. Can we just call her
Emerald. That's
Emeru?
just Emerald.
Which
Yeah, no, I live
Skunk.
translated. It was kind of weird for me, but I did get onto it. I'm like, okay, this is Emerald, this is Mizkif, and fuck. But yeah, you have to live translate that. Do not write. Do not state out the addresses out loud. By the way.
I have not. Skunk is a natural person and resident in Austin, Texas. She may be served with the process at her usual place of business. Hoyt is a natural person and resident of Austin, Texas. He may be served with process at his usual place of business. Is it their address? Because all these are the same place of business.
Well, some of them are, but some of them are different. But part of Texas doxing law is restating a place of business address or a residence address or a current or former phone number. So I'm just being extra careful regarding there because Texas doxing law is very narrow and specific.
Well, it says at the top here, to protect the privacy and safety of defendants, Skunk and Hoyt, who are well-known Twitch streamers, their personal residence addresses are omitted.
Which is good, but again, Texas fucking doxing laws is weird, and it includes business addresses.
Fair. This court has jurisdiction over this lawsuit because there is complete diversity of the parties, and the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000.
Yeah, by quite a bit, by the way.
Venue is proper, because at least one defendant resides in this district, and all defendants are residents of Texas. And a substantial part of the events or omissions giving rise to the claim occurred in this district. Factual background. For the past decade, Matthew Ronaldo has been working tirelessly to build a career in the demanding live streaming and content creation field, primarily on YouTube, a video sharing platform, and Twitch, a live streaming platform. Through years of effort, Ronaldo built his online presence under the handle Mizkif, leading him to a multi-million follower presence across various social media platforms. His entire professional life, during all relevant times, centered around streaming and content creation. He became one of the most successful creators on Twitch with a following of 2.2 million viewers as of October 2025. He was well known for collaborating with other streamers, playing video games, and discussing various issues with his followers and subscribers through Twitch's chat feature. In 2021, he won Best Just Chatting Streamer at the Streamer Awards. The community that he developed along with...
This whole section is just like the glaze section. Like, you really don't need to put it on this heavy. Like, Mizkif's lawyer, whoever drafted this, you didn't even need to mention the Streamer Awards, really. That's not really anything but a popularity contest.
Yeah.
The other things are good numbers and milestones, because that's going to help determine damages. The winning of the Streamer Awards does nothing in favor of arguing damages, so cut it out.
Yeah. The community he developed, along with his industry connections with other streamers, his personal reputation, and his business goodwill, allowed him to develop a successful business with multiple income streams from subscribers, ad placements on his videos, sponsorships, and more. In 2020, along with certain other high-profile streamers, he founded the One True King media brand and incorporated defendant OTK, which he remains a part owner of to this day. Does he still own it?
That's in... Wait a minute. No, well, that's the thing. No, he doesn't. And the attached letter shows that. But I will say this. This is something I didn't catch before. He doesn't say he co-founded. He said he founded. He is the OG fucking idea behind One True King. And then somehow stepped down as a co-owner. Or no, stepped down to co-owner, which he's claiming that he remains to this day. But given that this is a lawsuit for partially breach of contract, obviously, that's not true.
We shall see. I think there's a chance here that it's true. And there's been some fucky stuff in the background. Defendant Emeru.
Here's the thing, breach of contract would involve, like, okay, you wrongfully terminated me. But if I terminated you, you're no longer here, you're no longer a part of the company. So in that way, this is kind of a misstatement because, again, in his own words, one of the counts is breach of contract. That's one of the main ways you breach a contract. and it just doesn't. I'm not sure he should have put it there.
We'll see. Defendant Emeru joined OTK ownership in 2022. Through the acts and omissions described below, defendants Emeru, Hoyta's Asmongold, right?
Yeah, Hoyta's Asmongold.
So Emeru, Asmongold, and OTK, acting in concert, wrongfully and baselessly accused Mizkif of serious criminal activity for no purpose other than to harm him, his reputation, and his business, and wrest from him control of the companies that he helped build. Mizkif and defendant Emeru began dating in 2022. The relationship was not easy on either side. They would routinely face harassment from Emeru's followers, some of whom were stalking Emeru. They got into arguments regularly, and Emeru threatened to kill herself in many of these arguments. What were you gonna say?
Jesus. I said I believe that. Emeru's fans probably created quite a bit of stress between Mizkif and Emeru because weird stalker people be. It is really funny though. I hope that when this goes to Discovery, you actually have these claims, because Emeru provided receipts and showed that you have actually made this claim and you've admitted to making this claim. So to claim that she has as well, I hope you have receipts. That's all I'm saying.
I will say, because I watched all of Emeru and Mizkif's video, Emeru did not provide evidence for like 90% of what she said. So like I always hate.
But I mean,
she had some stuff, but I always hate when people are like, "Oh, she provided all these receipts." Yeah. Well, she provided receipts of stuff that really wasn't a problem for the most part.
Yeah.
Like when she talked about him stalking and harassing her, it was him sending her text messages that was like, "Please take me back. I love you." Like that. It's not the same
it's
thing.
Cringe, but it's not. It's stalking and harassment is like a pattern of behavior that has been repetitive long enough that you can recognize a pattern, and it is a danger to you. There's a lot to meet that fucking standard, and I'm sorry, those tanks don't meet that.
Yeah, like there is I'm not saying necessarily like he would win on it legally, but if Emeru doesn't have anything other than what she showed on stream, morally he probably should win that. Because she just did not have 90% of the worst stuff that she was trying to claim she had. Which I don't know why she wouldn't show it.
But you know what's really weird? In a lot of these claims, he doesn't try to dispute a lot of what he just calls them false, but he doesn't, he doesn't make it to where the burden of proof is shifted. It's weird. It's like you could have really went in on Emeru and really had her on the back foot, and I don't think he quite got there here.
I think both sides are saying true stuff to some extent. Because, like, for example,
I do think that,
Emeru had the one thing where she talked about the rabbits, and she's like, "Oh, he's gonna accuse me of killing my rabbits," and everybody's like, "Oh, he did." That's exactly
what happened.
And then it's like, okay, so he accused you of killing your rabbits, but your rabbits are dead, and you're not providing a counter narrative for what happened. You're just saying that he's going to accuse you of being the reason it happened.
Rabbits are really weird.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, though. She could have said that, but instead she just goes, "Oh, he's gonna accuse me of killing my rabbits." Okay, so what happened to him? Oh, well, we don't need to talk about that. Just know that he's gonna accuse me of killing them. Like, do you not have, like, a counter? Like, you gonna throw something out?
It's weird because her calling that out and then him making that statement, like, that's one of the most opened up for Emeru to countersue now for defamation regarding that. But again, I don't even think the rabbit situation is mentioned in here.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what Mizkif brought to the table, and his response to Emeru's accusations is not included in here, which is why I do believe that when we reacted to Mizkif's freaking like statements and shit like that, Everybody was in agreement. One person had clearly at least talked to a lawyer, the other one didn't, and Mizkif was that other one. Mizkif, dear God, get a lawyer. I think he actually heard someone somewhere and actually did that because he turned off that stream, he has not been back since, and then he just dropped this lawsuit. So you know what? He did take the advice that he should have taken earlier, but didn't.
Akka for 5, I want Discovery so bad. I'm praying for it. I'm gonna nut if we get Discovery. And none left. Member became a member. Thank you for becoming a member. Much appreciated.
I don't know if every party here will survive motion to dismiss, but I think that Texas has very strong defamation law. Very strong defamation laws. And I think that if any of the 5 parties here are going to get through, it might be in the row and Aspen, which would give us the discovery we want.
Yep. I am hoping it goes through because I said it on Twitter. I believe that Mizkif might be the first person that actually follows through with his threat and drags everybody down with him.
I mean, look, he did take a step towards that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, it's not a threat, it's a promise. Okay, I believe you. Holy shit.
Because that's the thing, chat, that a lot of people are talking about. It's like, well, if this goes through, Mizkif is going to ruin himself. Mizkif is kind of already ruined, to a degree. So he's just saying, well, if I'm going to be ruined, everybody's going to be ruined.
And I think he knows, exactly. I think he knows, because I think Legal Mindset mentioned it too. This is going to open him up to complete reputational harm, but I think he knows that, and it's about how many people he can take down with him.
Yeah, we've mentioned this in the past before, but you have to be very careful when you're a bad person doing bad things to put one of your accomplices in a position where they feel like they have nothing left to lose. And I think that's what they've done with Mizkif. He might not necessarily be any position where he genuinely doesn't have anything left to lose, but a guy who actually believes he's in love believes really stupid things. And I think based on the text, Mizkif actually does, to like some toxic level, love Emeru. So not having that relationship anymore for him probably does feel like the end of the world. So he's in that position of the accomplice that has all the dirt on you that feels like he has nothing left to lose anyways. I don't think Mizkif wins this. He's probably missed a lot of the real-time evidence people put on Reddit and X. Emeru will be able to bring all those in defense. Not really.
She'll be able to bring in some with, permission from the judge, but honestly, most of the evidence that's going to be presented is going to be through discovery, and that's going to be in their text chains, their Discord group chats, all that stuff that they'll be required to hand over thanks to Brady laws.
You have to think, chat. I want you to ignore the fact that we're just kind of taking Emeru and Mizkif's statements for granted. You show up to court, and Emeru just plays a video of her streaming, and there's a bang noise in the background. And she just says, that was Mizkif punching a hole through a wall and being abusive. And the judge is like, okay, how do we know that's Mizkif? How do I know that's not just like a fucking neighbor that dropped something?
These are questions that are going to be asked. This is why you bring in experts to, verify and go through the stuff. And then a lot of the stuff that you will see that Emeru has shown, I don't see a judge actually allowing into evidence because it lacks foundation.
His own evidence is against him. See, chat, that's the thing. Like, people, I don't think anyone knows, like, legal procedure. Because at the moment, based on what is publicly available, Emeru has almost nothing.
No, that's true, but he also hasn't provided any evidence in the affirmative, and the one thing he did is this letter that does not do him any favors. The one thing of evidence he's attached to this fucking complaint, dude, seriously, you should have never attached that. Like, I've asked other lawyers, I've read the letter myself. That is a dumpster fire for you, Mizkif. And maybe it might get through something to the other companies, but dear God, it harms you far more than anybody else.
You know, that's the thing. I'm not saying Mizkif is going to win, but a lot of the people that are like, no, all the evidence currently is against Mizkif. No, if Mizkif loses, it's because his case is weak. It's not because there's overwhelming evidence that he did it. Currently, the overwhelming evidence is that he's kind of a bit of a bitch that would beg for a woman back. Like, I'm being honest. Like, he's kind of a little bitch.
Yeah, no, you're
who
right.
is desperately, hopelessly in love with Emeru, even though they're in a horrendously toxic relationship. Or I guess were in a horrendously toxic relationship. And that's about all we have evidence for. Oh, and sometimes he gets mad and might punch stuff at the house.
He might win simply because she botches the case with lack of evidence. No. Burden of proof is on him because he's the plaintiff. He has to actually provide the evidence in the affirmative to prove that Emeru and Asbin knowingly and with true malice actually spread these false statements. Like defamation, again, there's high standards here, and because he's the one who's brought the complaint initially, the burden of proof is on him.
I think Asmin is difficult.
She might not have any
I think
evidence.
Emeru might be pretty easy to clear.
Emeru might be, yeah. Asmin's too much of a hermit to really like get in. Like, I'm not concerned with discovery with him. Maybe I'm wrong, and it'll fucking uncover something horrible. But dear God, Asmin just is not social enough to be like involved with real life controversy.
Yeah, I think with Emeru, it's might be depending on what is in their text, it might actually be a pretty easy bar to clear. Especially if there's any evidence, because you have to think Emeru told a lot of people. Like that's the thing that came out after this is everybody's like, oh, we all knew because Emeru told all of us. That is immediately kind of hurting Emeru's case a little bit because it's come out
Not
that
really. She could tell a bunch of people private, but it's really her public statement, and the court's going to have to determine what specific statements need to be found as defamatory, which means it'll be specific lines in her actual VOD addressing these allegations and making her statements.
That's actually where I'll have to disagree with you, though.
Behind the scenes.
Because she didn't go around telling a bunch.
Lawsuits work.
Well, no, because it's not that she went around and told a bunch of her friends. She went around and told a bunch of people that Mizkif did business with.
Okay, well then he should have sued for tortious interference, not defamation. That's different.
That can be amended.
Again, this is ultimately, well, yeah, he'd have to amend for that because he could not get to, well, like, I think he could if he actually included it, but without, no, going around to other places of business and telling them defamatory things, that's tortious interference, that's the route you would go. When it comes to business, when it comes to public statements, that's defamation.
I don't know. Everything I've seen from previous defamation cases, I'm pretty sure you can bring defamation because it's considered public at a certain point when you keep telling this many people.
I'd have to see the cases.
Because you have to think about your argument, right? Because with defamation, it can be spoken word. So in what case, in a non-internet case, can somebody defame another person? Do they have to shout it on the street corner? Like, how does the statement become public?
That actually can hit, yeah. In fact, there's a case in Texas, I believe it's 2019 or 2020, where somebody actually went out and they were on the street saying that this childcare worker who was in front of his gym was a pedophile. And that was what he got sued for because he was saying it on the public street. And yes, there was businesses in here for reputational harm, but he wasn't going to the business owners telling them that. He was yelling it on the street in a public square. And again, that wasn't a public figure, and you still have to get to true malice when it comes to any of these guys. They all have more than enough numbers to have that elevated standard for defamation.
Possibly, because that's going to end up being the decision for the judge. And that's one reason why I think, like, you say the glazing at the start wasn't necessary. I think it was. Because I've specifically seen this with Texas judges. They don't know dick about the internet.
That's true.
They don't know dick about the internet. They don't know dick about like
really glazing was the winning the streamer awards.
Yeah.
All of his like numbers that like his followers, what he's achieved, how many years he's been working at it. That's all incredibly important to inform the judge exactly, you know, how big the skills are here. But the streamer awards, I'm sorry, that's a popularity contest. It doesn't give you any metric for damages, which is what the judge is going to be looking at.
Yeah, but it's to go to like show that it's a real job, which you would think isn't important. But that's partially why Vic Mignogna lost his case. Like, there's a billion reasons why Vic lost his case. But what the judge, like, even specifically said that he did not consider signing autographs like a real business or like a real loss of money for some reason. I'm still pissed that the judge tried to say that.
Yeah, that was,
like, some of these boomer judges just do not know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to alternate jobs.
Yeah. That's just a fact.
But if you start telling them that, like, oh yeah, no, he's won awards for this, then suddenly it becomes like, oh, maybe that is legitimate. So I don't even necessarily think that's glazing him. I think that might be the lawyer predicting they're getting a boomer judge, and they're like, I really need to convince this judge that streaming is a real job.
I mean, then he should just put his earning numbers.
Fair.
Really, that's, I mean, yeah, this is a real job, here's my income.
Yeah.
That you just made determining damages infinitely easier for this potentially boomer judge. Because I could see a boomer judge looking at 2.2 million followers and going, what does that mean? What does that translate to in dollars?
Yeah. For it to be defamation, it would need to be false anyways. I think people misunderstand what that means, because I've seen a lot of people say Mizkif needs to prove that it was false. That's not necessarily true. The truth is an absolute defense to defamation, absolutely, but you don't necessarily need to prove it's false. For it to be a defense, they would have to prove it's true.
No, what he can do, yeah, exactly. What Mizkif can do is he can actually shift the burden of proof by showing that, hey, you know, these statements are false, but now I have to prove, now Mizkif has to prove, because fucking public figure fucking shit, that, like, what Mizkif has to do here is he has to prove that they knew the statement was false and they chose to spread it anyway. They chose to say it anyway, knowing that it would harm his reputation, knowing it was false. That's what he has to actually do and actually prove. He doesn't have to prove necessarily that it was false. He has to do that.
Yeah, I've tried to explain that to a couple of people on Twitter this morning, because everybody keeps saying he needs to prove it's false. That's not what that means. That's not what truth is an absolute defense to defamation means. It means that if Emaru could prove everything she said was 100% true, then she would be off the hook. But she has to prove it's true. Exactly. He doesn't have to prove it's false.
Yeah, Mizkif is the one. Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing. Mizkif is bringing the complaint here.
I could see a judge being enough of a boomer to see an award and be like, oh, they have awards. All right, I guess that's kind of legit. That's the thing.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
It puts it in a weird perspective when you deal with some of these boomer judges. Also, I turned up Ava as high as I could.
Hold on, I think I can turn myself up a bit more.
Here's the relationship thing that we saw, where Emaru claims that, or Mizkif claims that Emaru wanted to marry him and have children within the next 5 years.
Oh, that's so fucking weird, by the way. Don't do that. Don't put that. Why? This is, I don't know. This feels like dirty laundry, that need not be fucking included here. For the fact, like, that Emaru is defaming you. You don't need to, like, we were gonna have babies, but then we didn't. Okay, does that have anything to do with the defamation right now?
Actually, no, if I was a lawyer, I would include that 100%. Because it goes to show that, like, because it can go to show that all of these claims about, like, abuse, you can make an argument that, like, she didn't actually believe it was abusive because she was specifically asking to get married and have children. And while I'm not saying that necessarily is true, that abused wives don't want to get married and have children, because, you know, abuse makes you do wacky things when your head's in a bad space. For court perspective, it severely damages your argument that somebody is abusing you when you're simultaneously saying, I want to get married and have children with them. Which would necessarily go into the defamation.
He's placing an unnecessary burden of proof on himself, because now he has to prove that this is actually true.
Yeah, but
for it to be considered true, like you're the one making the allegation that she wanted to get married and have babies in response to her. Like, you're trying to undermine her character with an allegation of something she said. You better have fucking proof of. Otherwise, you've placed an unnecessary burden on your own case, including this.
Mayhaps. Neither of them need to have children ever, probably.
Yeah, I'm okay, 100% there.
Feels like he's grasping at straws with the relationship stuff. He's kind of not, because he has to bring up the relationship since it's a key point in why everything happened the way it did. Because he
definitely has to bring up the relationship.
They were in a relationship.
He does not need to bring up like him mentioning that, hey, you know, in I think it was 2022 they started dating. It was never easy. There was issues. Blah blah blah. That's all good. Him saying that, hey, she wanted to marry me and have my babies. Okay, well, guess what? The judge is going to ask for the proof on that. Because, yeah, it does actually contradict Emeru's statements about, like, abuse and fucking her wanting out and all of this other shit. Yeah, it does do that, but because it does that, it places a burden of proof on Mizkif that he otherwise doesn't need right now. He already has most of the burden of proof right now, and I'm just saying, for him to win this lawsuit, he needs to start doing stuff that shifts the burden of proof on Emeru, on OTK, on Asmon, and these other companies.
Well, so here's this next part, right? And this is the part I think is the strongest, and this is what kills me, because I've seen several people read this part.
I do think this is the strongest.
I've seen several people read this part, and they go, well, you know, none of that really matters because that's all an opinion. It's like, no, none of this is an opinion.
No, this is very important.
10 months later...
This is the timeline on this is incredibly important.
Yeah, so 10 months later, October 24th, 2025, Emeru hosted a live stream on Twitch. On the live stream, she lied and basically accused Mizkif of psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail. These slanderous accusations were made live before an audience of tens of thousands and have since been viewed millions of times across various platforms. For some reason, multiple people looked at this and said, well, those are opinions. Those are not... Do you people know what an opinion is? Legally speaking, do you know what an opinion is?
That's a recollection of events. It's even quoted because that's quite literally the words she said verbatim.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not... That's just like your opinion, man. No, it's not. I swear to God.
Well, a lot of people were trying to say it was... He could not say that was defamation because it was Emeru's opinions on those things. Just because it's your opinion doesn't mean you can say it. Those are she said specific crimes.
Yeah, these are not opinions. These are a statement of fact. And the thing that you are reporting as fact are formal criminal allegations. This is where if you have a preponderance of evidence and they from the, you know what, this might not actually be true. Boom, you've survived your motion to dismiss. You've gotten into discovery, where defamation is concerned.
Yeah,
like that's kind of the big thing here, especially the SA allegation, because even with what she reported, still didn't actually hit the legal definition of SA.
Yeah. So that gets in the second part. In the same live stream, Emeru gives accounts of their relationship. They do not support the allegations she levied. For example, in her own description of the purported sexual assault, Emeru states she and Renato were kissing, he tried to initiate intercourse, she made clear she did not want to, and he stopped, respecting the line that she had drawn. Quote, he started kissing me in my face and I let him do it, and then suddenly he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hand down my pants and I screamed. And when I screamed, he jumped off me like a cat. Nonetheless, she continued to defame.
Which, yes, that is,
like, you
again, for everyone who doesn't understand this, because this is where I know that you've seen the Freaks on Twitter going, yeah, that's sexual assault. No. She had given him consent, was letting him kiss face and neck. I believe it was more than just face. And then when he actually tried to escalate beyond that, she screamed, indicating a revocation of consent, to which he complied with.
Yeah.
The line for sexual assault had not been crossed, just objectively speaking here.
Sounds more like deeply misreading the situation than SA. Exactly. Something else.
Exactly. Spherical logic is right here.
Something else that people ignored in that is because a lot of people were saying, well, they were separated at that point. Well, actually, if you listen to Emeru's statements, they were in a constant on and off relationship. Like, they would break up, leave to different houses, then come back together, date for a little bit again, break up, leave to different houses. This was probably a cycle. This was just the last time the cycle happened.
A relationship.
Sorry, what was that? Spoke over you.
I said so. It sounds like your average Zoomer relationship. Average relationship, really.
Yeah. You would have a hard time finding any jury that said she gave consent while crying and in an emotional state. No, it's that he didn't keep going when she revoked consent. That's the thing. You have to prove that, like, he was ignoring her consent to keep moving forward.
Yeah, which, by the way, in his prayer for relief, Mizkif does not demand a jury trial.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, so it'd be legal requirements.
You're looking at probably a request for a bench trial, because the fact that there is an emotional element here that maybe your standard jury could not get past, and so guess what? You're going to ask and push for a bench trial so the judge can be the sole finder of fact, and it can actually look at the legal lines here.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. You would have a hard time finding a jury, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be a jury trial.
Exactly. Also, it's important to remember, there's, argue she never gave consent for him to stick his hands in his pants, only for the kissing. Which is why he stopped when she complained about it. It's how that works. Like, I don't understand how people don't understand this about relationships at all. In relationships, like, this whole, like, new age thing of you have to ask consent for every individual step, like, as you're moving forward, that's never been a thing. It has literally never been a thing that people do.
Well, Spherical Logic, no, he opened his mouth on Twitch first, and then he got a lawyer. So he did the wrong thing and then corrected to the right thing. I'll give him kudos for that. But no, he came out the gate. His statements were absolutely atrocious. A lawyer would be screaming for him to rip his own tongue out.
If they were in an
a
off
lawyer
relationship,
was actually involved at that point.
If they were in an off relationship, it wouldn't be considered SA, correct? It depends on, like, the circumstance, ultimately. Like, there's a difference between you're just, like, in a fucking subway somewhere and a random ass dude you don't know shoves his hand in your pants. That's very clearly SA. But
and we also have to keep in mind the first step of her allowing him to kiss and, like, you know, comfort her in whatever way. That implies consent. She's letting it happen, and then she draws a line when he tries to escalate beyond that. That first step is incredibly important because that's the initial consent that we're looking at, and then the revocation of consent comes later, to which he complies with. This is very important to actually look at and get this timeline, because that's exactly how the courts are going to look at this timeline.
Yeah, so I've mentioned this kind of before, and Ava's probably heard me talk about it before, but a lot of people seem to think that courts have this very strict reading of the law, and that courts never consider any sort of outside factor. I don't know where you guys got that from. Like, with the amount of like, the amount of times people have been caught dead to rights doing a crime, and they got off with it, I don't know where people got the idea that courts 100% do a literal reading of the law and nothing else. Because that's just not how that works.
There's a lot of technical arguments that we'll get through, and yeah, it'll piss everybody off, but guess what? Judges just can't help themselves. There's fucking cases of Judge Fisher, one of my favorite judges, where he's like, oh, you just brought up a very interesting legal argument, let's entertain this. Instead of what he should do if everything was super, robotic by the law and letter of the law. It's like, no, we're not entertaining this. This is what the law is, No, that's it. The law's not quite that rigid. It should be a little bit more rigid, in my opinion, but it's not.
Yeah. Like, you have to understand, if we take a literal reading of sexual assault, if a woman has had a single beer at a restaurant or something, and somebody who is dead sober gets into, like, a relationship with her, that would technically be considered sexual assault under a very literal reading of the law, because she is intoxicated and therefore cannot consent. And that's what people like this want to, like... They want this extremely literal reading of the law that could get absolutely everybody thrown in jail yesterday. And that's just not how the world works. That's not how life works. Trust me, you don't want that. It just annoys me.
Yeah, hell, you know what? I'll reading of the exact law. For my Alpire Reacts on, I think it was Monday. I reacted to the civil rights attorney showing that this guy was in Florida. He was recording this weird traffic stop where there were like 4 or 5 fucking cops there. The person who was actually pulled over was kind of in the over the line for the crosswalk. So when he crossed and he had to kind of like move around the car to get to the sidewalk. The cops immediately pounced on him because in Florida, and this is a real law, you have to cross you have to cross the road at a 90-degree angle for the shortest fucking thing. Now, the law does have some exceptions, but if you strictly read by the law, technically speaking, when they slammed his face into the ground and arrested him, they were justified for that. The law cannot be that rigid. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with, like, SA. If you actually sat down and read the law for SA, it's so overbroad. Like, in some states, it's, like, literally just defined as, like, a non-consensual touching that could be construed as sexual. Which could literally mean if somebody by a literal reading, if somebody accidentally bumped into you while trying to walk past you and that bump happened to touch your butt, that would be sexual assault.
That is one nice thing about California. It's very narrow and very specific of what counts as sexual assault and battery.
Yeah. It's like, people need to stop with this literal reading of the law. That's not going to be how it works in a court case. And that's not how... A lot of times that literal reading of the law isn't even supported by the law itself. A lot of times the laws have a billion definitions below it that actually explain in more detail what they mean when they say, like, non-consensual touching. Which you would think is pretty straightforward, but for legal purposes, they can have, like, an entire page dedicated to what non-consensual means.
Yeah, there's a couple subsections in California for it. It's specifically for sexual assault is, like, you have to, like, grope or make direct aggressive contact with the buttocks, female breasts, any genital area, it's really, really specific. Whereas, like, in other fucking states, like, I think Colorado is pretty broad. It's like, yeah, I bumped into somebody on the bus and I accidentally touched their butt. When I did, guess what? I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
That seems a little aggressive, in my opinion.
And that's the thing. Everybody on Twitter just turns off their brain when somebody says SA. None of you know what SA is. Like, at the end of the day, nobody on Twitter seems to know what this fucking word means. Because they just throw it around like candy and apply it to whatever they feel like. That's not how it works.
Yeah, and I will say, and this is why it was very important that, I hope by now, here's the big thing. Mizkif actually got this lawsuit out pretty quickly, and I'm wondering if Emaru hasn't had a chance to get any kind of report or PR, like RTO or any kind of thing actually registered with the courts, because if he did get ahead of that, honestly, that's a W for him. Because that was the first thing when Emiro made her statements. We were all like, look, she needs to talk to a lawyer. She needs to get it on paper. In the form of reports, in the form of a fucking restraining order, whatever the fuck. If she hasn't actually followed through and done that before Mizkif got this lawsuit in, that's not good for her.
I feel like we would have heard it if she would have already got it filed.
That's kind of my thing, yeah.
Here's the thing, chat. You have to think. Emiru's been thinking about this for months, and she even claimed when she did this stream that she was filing for a protection order that day. Mizkif managed to file a response before Emiru managed to file this protection order, which, as far as we know, still doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Is like it's very important that she. I'm just hoping she actually told the truth and said, "I am filing this day." Good. I hope that's true, because if it's not, you are now on the back foot in terms of this little lawfare dance that you're going to be drawn into now.
Yeah. Actually, looking at this next part, I understand that the linked letter from OTK probably doesn't help him very much, but there's a lot I can see here that immediately goes to court. The very same day, OTK sent Mizkif a letter purporting to terminate his interest in the company. OTK claimed it was entitled to do so based on the nature of Emiru's allegations. Emiru is the handle under which defendant Emiru operates her streaming and content creation business. OTK's letter is attached hereto as Exhibit A. The letter asserted a number of purported breaches of the owner's agreement. No such breaches occurred. Nonetheless, OTK asserted that it was reclaiming Ronaldo's over 1 million shares of OTK without payment.
That's a lot of share.
Yeah. This letter further asserted Mizkif owed amounts in excess of $600,000 to Mythic for, quote, management fees relating to purported breaches that did not occur. Through OTK, Mythic demanded repayment of these allegedly owed fees. Further, the letter falsely asserted Mizkif violated his agreement with King, purported to reclaim Mizkif's 93,000 shares of stock in King, and demanded $296,000 as a result of purported breaches that again did not occur. Is Texas a fire at will state? That doesn't matter. This is not like a... They can sever the connection with him to a degree. It becomes a completely different thing when you have shares in the business. Without like...
There are ways to dissolve somebody's interest in a company.
Yeah.
It usually has to do with like a full vote from the board of directors. And it usually also means that you have already been in violation of the owner's agreement in the past. And you're like maybe in some kind of probationary state, usually involving like a promissory note, it's called. If you violate that, then okay, well, guess what? The gloves are off. There is no third strike. This is the second strike and you're out.
Yeah.
That's really the only way that they could actually go through attempting. And again, I'm saying attempting. Doesn't mean they'll actually get it. But this is the way that they would attempt to dissolve his interest and take all those shares without repayment.
Yeah. That's the without repayment, chat, is the big issue here. Because you have to have...
you have serious breaches.
That's a very high bar.
Criminal breaches.
Like, without repayment typically means you tried to destroy the company itself. Or, like, you did something to try and blow up the whole company.
Well, you could actually, if you violated the rights of another owner, that could also probably meet the standard.
Sure. Offering to buy out his stake, pending a stakeholder vote, is the better way to go.
Definitely. That would be the way to do it.
Somebody found the clip. So in OTK's letter, they mentioned something that Mizkif said, and somebody found the clip of him saying it, where he basically says that when he showed up, OTK wasn't making any money, really, and they were floundering. There is a non-zero chance that OTK has no money and would not be able to buy out his shares.
That's also true, yeah.
Because here's the other thing, right? So OTK is, we now know, as a part of this, kind of a part of Mythic and a part of King. So if they had actually taken all of his shares as payment to Mythic and King, you would have to assert that a share of OTK isn't even worth like a single dollar. Like, your shares are effectively worthless, for all intents and purposes.
That's one way, yeah.
Because it's under, the money he supposedly owes is under $1 million, but 1 million shares wouldn't be enough to cover it, which would have been the better thing for them to do, I guess. It's still not good. You still have to, it's still a very high bar to meet. To be like, oh, for unpaid dues, we're dissolving your shares and paying off your dues for you. It's something, it's better though than saying we're taking your shares and not paying you back.
I mean, I imagine, because and this is what the allegations are saying. It's in the letter that a lot of these things are restated and kind of brought up and like demanded of him. Reading the letter will help, like, probably give full context, but if the letter says anything remotely different than what he is actually putting in his complaint, he's just fucked himself with his own submission of evidence.
No, I think he's pretty straightforward on the letter.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be.
No, like, the letter's been, like, publicly shared. I think it's pretty straightforward on the letter, most. I think he kept it vague enough that it's very fair to it. Oh, Ava disappeared. But yeah, no, this is, this particular spot here, they probably just shouldn't have done it, to be, like, completely frank with you guys. I'm trying to think of a good comparison. Because sometimes you just don't do certain things because it looks bad. And in this case, it just looks bad on OTK's part. Welcome back, Ava.
Well, here's the issue too. An issue is since, sadly, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, but if anything, I'm actually saying it's kind of a bad thing. But because of, like, the Me Too movement and the rise in prevalence in employment contracts, ownership agreements, and stuff like that have morality and reputational harm clauses in them, even just allegations in these contracts are enough to give a company the right to terminate your involvement with them, your shares, everything, and they're allowed to, and it's been affirmed by judges like 4 or 5 times. It's not a good thing. But because of the Me Too shit that has happened over the years, this sadly is exactly why Disney was able to drop Johnny Depp with no fucking repercussions.
Yeah.
This is why, so, yeah, this is a concern.
Yeah. Chat mentions, how are people able to go into...
Because, I mean, OTK might have a right here, depending on the language of the ownership agreement.
Well, chat has, how are people able to go into debt with a company that takes percentage commission? That's going to be the interesting question with Mythic. Because Mythic has very publicly said multiple times that all they do is they take a percentage, they basically find the sponsor for you, and then they, right at the start, take a percentage of what the sponsor is offering you. So Mythic is the middleman.
There's once an eye on which I can think it happening.
I'm gonna wait for court to happen.
But that would actually involve that would involve more Mizkif, like being, again, because he's an owner, he owns these shares and stuff like that. Maybe he has a different agreement, but if he went outside network of Mythic and got like sponsorship deals and stuff like that, there might be something in the agreement regarding not being able to do that, and a breach of and doing that and not cutting Mythic in might end up with some kind of penalties or something like that. That's the only way I can actually consider that actually having any legs.
Yeah. That's why I really want Discovery for some of this. Because some of this comes up really sus, and I don't think any of these businesses really wanted to go to court. Imaru and Asmon might, because streamers are typically stupid and they don't understand what going to court means. The businesses, OTK, King, and Mythic, I don't think want this to go to court. They don't want it to hit Discovery, I don't think. Granted, no business ever wants it to hit Discovery.
Should want to have, yeah, exactly. Yeah, trust me. Like this, I'm wondering if I'm wondering what the percentage of like any of these parties, or at least a majority of them, like trying to settle with Mizkif getting this hit court. What do you think that? What do you think the likelihood is there?
I think Mythic, King, and OTK would. I think there's a possibility of them saying, "Hey, let's just make it go away." You know, we're not. What I see them saying is, "We'll not give you your shares back, but we will use your shares to pay your outstanding debts." How about that? And we'll just call it even Steven.
Oh, that might be a way, yeah.
That's the best I could see them doing. And then I can also see Mizkif refusing to accept that because he sees the shares as more valuable than the lawsuit. Because again, streamers aren't necessarily known for being the smartest people, and I also do not know how valuable an OTK share is. I'd have to see the actual amount. Because if they're actually like doing very well, and he has like millions and millions of dollars in the company through shares, that might unironically be worth it to go to court over. Not necessarily like as a collective case like this, but just against OTK themselves. But again, I don't know the specifics of how much it's worth. Who knows? Mythic King and OTK made no serious investigation or inquiry into the basis for or truth of Imaru's allegations before repudiating their agreements with plaintiffs. Indeed, Mythic King and OTK did not even ask Mizkif for comment or any information in his possession, disproving the allegations. Instead, a few days after Imaru's defamatory livestream, OTK, perpetuating the defamation, put out a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter. I fucking hate that they say that. I get why, but I fucking hate that they say that.
It's gross. Yeah, it's gross.
That it fully supports its co-owner and sister Imaru, and stands by her side and admires her strength in coming forward and sharing her story. In this statement, OTK falsely claimed it had terminated its relationship with Mizkif some time ago for reasons unrelated to the recent event. That actually could come back and bite them in the butt.
Well, I actually did look that up because that's what I was thinking. With what Mizkif provides in attachment to this main complaint, it's really hard. It hurts them more because it establishes that OTK has actually taken corrective action against Mizkif before, actually suspended him back in 2023 over the stuff that we're talking about, and told him, hey, you're on notice and you're on thin ice, which means that this event, they wouldn't need to even look in because you're already on notice and you fucked up again. Okay, we're done with you.
Maybe. I can see it going either way. Asmongold is a part owner of OTK. Since Imaru's livestream, Asmongold has continuously defamed Mizkif on a near daily basis. He has claimed inter-ally... I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. I don't always get the language very well.
Wait, where are you?
He's claimed inter-ally.
Oh, there's this. Okay, inter alia.
Mizkif should be in jail. Thank you for the build-up.
Okay, that's not what he said.
Claimed he was abusing and manipulating others.
I'm a little...
That depends. Here's the thing.
That's a misrepresentation.
Well, here's the thing. He says that he's been talking about him daily. I would have to watch every single Asmongold stream to figure out what all he has said. And that's
I know this, you know, he should be in jail. I'm like, no, he said that Mizkif is crashing out and he needs to freaking take a break because if he continues in the behavior pattern that he is in, he's going to end up in jail. It was an objective looking at Mizkif's behavior and state of mind and saying, dude, you are in danger of doing something that's going to put you in jail. There was never you should be in jail. And even if it was you should be in jail, that's not defamation.
Well, he says, for example, in a live stream that has since been uploaded to YouTube, where it garnered 1.9 million views as of the date of his filing, Asmongold states directly that Mizkif was, quote, the aggressor and abuser in the relationship with Imuru. Asmongold would then qualify his statement by saying, at least allegedly, but disclaimed that disclaimer itself by saying he has to say that for legal reasons. You probably don't want to say it that way.
I mean, that's just
It's accurate, but you probably don't want to say it that way.
That's not yet, but the courts aren't going to get angry at you for that. Oh, okay, so you are aware for legal reasons you need to qualify with allegedly. Thank you for doing your due diligence. Like, this isn't a gotcha that Mizkif thinks it is. Like, now, here's one thing. Just saying at least allegedly, like in attacking that onto a statement, that doesn't always guarantee you're, shielded from a defamation lawsuit. But I would say like 80% of the time it is, especially if you do it right.
Yeah. Asmongold also claimed on his live stream there was another, again unspecified, act of misconduct that was the reason Mizkif was removed from OTK. This is in direct contrast to OTK's on account as provided in its letter of October 24. Asmongold falsely accused Mizkif of threatening Imuru's employees at TwitchCon, a recent streaming convention. Asmongold has enriched himself personally by advertising revenues and subscription fees garnered from his smear campaign against Mizkif. Even some of Asmongold's own viewership noted he was, quote, drama baiting for views. The combined coordinated actions of Imuru, Asmongold, OTK, Mythic, and King have caused serious and lasting damage to Mizkif's personal reputation and his business. Since the defamation occurred, Mizkif has been losing followers and subscribers on a daily basis. Mizkif anticipates the loss of existing sponsorships and increased difficulty in securing future sponsorships. Regretfully, the extreme nature of the misconduct here has compelled Mizkif to file suit. Count 1, breach of contract. Defendants OTK and King. Interesting that Mythic isn't included in that, actually.
Yeah, I would have expected Mythic to be in there.
So, count 1, breach of contract. Plaintiffs incorporate the allegations of paragraphs 1 through 32 by reference as if set forth fully herein. OTK breached its ownership agreement with Mizkif by purporting to oust him from ownership when no event of breach or default giving it authority to take such action had occurred. OTK acknowledged it took no effort to investigate the alleged breaches, claiming in its own words that OTK is not involved in nor aware of the content of such personal matter that Mizkif or Imuru may have with each other. Nonetheless, OTK
Anticipator. Oh, fuck you. Oh, God, come on.
I don't like
that. That is such a weird one. Anticipatorily.
Yeah. Breached its contract with Mizkif based on Imuru's allegations. Similarly, King breached its agreements with plaintiffs by purporting to divest them of their stock in King when no breach or event of default permitting same had occurred. These breaches of contract have caused damage to plaintiffs by purporting to divest them of over 1 million shares of stock owned in OTK and King. Defamation, Imuru, and Asmongold. Plaintiffs incorporate the allegations of paragraph 1 through 37 of the complaint as if set forth fully herein. Defendants Imuru and Asmongold have repeatedly published untrue defamatory statements concerning Mizkif to an audience of millions, painting him as a rapist, domestic abuser, and emotional abuser. These statements were made with actual malice. Imuru and Asmongold knew at the time that they published these statements that they were false on belief and information. Imuru and Asmongold knew they stood to benefit from Mizkif's ouster from OTK, the associated companies, and coordinated the timing of their statements to maximize the injury inflicted to the plaintiffs. These statements have caused severe damage to plaintiffs' reputation and business and have caused severe emotional distress and mental anguish. I have to point this out because this is all over Twitter. A lot of people read this line right here and for some reason said that he was suing for emotional damage. They keep saying that based off literally this one line. That's not what this means.
If it was, it would be under one of the counts, and it would be intentional infliction of emotional distress. What they're saying is that as a result of this defamation, this stuff has happened. Now, it goes in a way of making his argument stronger that, hey, this defamation has affected him deeply, and he should be compensated as such, but it's not in of itself its own. It's not an actual, like, it's not, yeah, it's just not it's not a charge, if you will.
Yeah. Just to clarify, chat, I'm not pointing this out to insult Mizkif. I'm pointing this out to insult people that are against Mizkif. Because in this case, they're stupid. It's one line. He's not suing for emotional damage.
Yeah, he's not being sued for emotional distress. He's being, he's suing for defamation, which has caused emotional distress.
I would argue in a defamation case that if this line doesn't appear somewhere in your defamation case, your lawyer isn't doing their job. Because it's like a boilerplate line.
You're gonna, yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Like, it's every lawyer puts this in a defamation case. Every single one. If your lawyer didn't put it in, I don't think they've done a defamation case before. Quite frankly. It's civil right now, right? The state isn't involved at all for the SA accusation. So
to our knowledge, we have no idea. I mean, because that would require reports and stuff to be made, which I don't think Emiru has done yet. Even though it has been very heavily suggested she do so.
Yes. That's where that ends up coming in, is the state won't be involved because Emiru, for whatever reason, is just refusing to actually put forth something. And it's probably because she knows she would lose. Which, that's the thing. I don't think she believes what she said in regards to that. I think she knows that they had a weird on and off relationship and that she just said that to get back at him. You'd have to prove that in court that she said it to get back at him.
Exactly.
So, like, she can't use that as an example. I just personally believe she said it to get back at him. Because she is still dragging her feet with filing anything.
I would like to think that a lot of her allegations probably hold some truth in terms of, like, manipulation, emotional blackmail, stuff like that. But as regards to, like, the fucking big heavy hitter here, the SA allegations, I'm sorry, you're just not there. Even by her own account of what happened, you cannot reach sexual assault, in my opinion.
Yeah. I also feel like I have to point this out for people, right? If this goes to court and they start doing discovery and stuff, he does not have to... I don't know why people believe this. He does not have to prove every single thing in the allegations. Like, even in just a specific section of the allegation, he just has to prove some specific pieces. And the court can award more or less damages depending on how much was proven. A lot of people seem to have this idea...
This might end up coming out to, like, several forms. Like, remember what happened with the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard case, right?
Yeah.
What happened is you had 2 or 3 statements or articles or whatever that were determining to be whether or not they were defamation or not. And the jury found that some of the statements were defamation and some of them weren't. So really what will end up happening here is the overall defamation lawsuit will probably be split into several finding statements that are probably in Emiru's VOD or whatever, and then the jury or the finder of fact, the judge, will have to actually determine if that statement equals defamation, and that's what the lawyers will actually be arguing.
Yeah. I don't know why people always think this. They just think if you file, like, if I say this person defamed me 8 ways, people are like, oh, so you have to prove all 8 ways in order to win. No, I just had to prove 1. Like, I don't know why people got this idea.
That's the thing. I think Johnny had 1 of his things found affirmative. The other, like, only 2. So he got 50% of his stuff actually proven, but he still was awarded $5 million. Okay, one statement being proven defamatory was more than enough to give the pay and the vindication that he was seeking.
Yeah. So the last claim is declaratory judgment, and this one actually does include Mythic. Plaintiffs incorporate the allegations of
Okay, there
paragraph
it
1 through
is.
41 of the complaint as set forth fully herein. An actual controversy exists between plaintiffs OTK, Mythic, and King concerning the purported breaches that defendants allege plaintiffs committed, and the efficacy of defendants' attempts to unlawfully divest plaintiffs of interest in their companies. I'm going to be honest, we have to see the contract. This could be strong.
Show me the Carfax.
Yeah. This is going to be like this might actually make it to court unless they flip their dick out on the table and they have the most ironclad contract in the world. Other than that, they probably should have just bought him out of his shares just to prevent any possible view of legal impropriety.
It's gonna depend what the purported breaches are.
Yes. An actual controversy exists between plaintiffs OTK and Mythic concerning the amounts demanded by OTK and Mythic for unlawful management fees, which are neither due nor owing. An actual controversy exists between plaintiffs and OTK concerning the wrongfully accelerated promissory note, which OTK had no legal basis to make demand upon.
But what did I say? I said if there was a promissory note involved in his in his agreement with LTK, especially after the disciplinary action that they took on him in 2023, that would be a route. So him admitting that there apparently was a promissory note, although he is alleging that they wrongfully accelerated it, there we go. We have our legal avenue for how OTK attempted to do this.
Yeah. The court jurisdiction to issue declaratory judgment under 28 USC. Attorney's fees. Based on the actions of OTK, Mythic, and King, Mizkif has been forced to retain the undersigned counsel to protect his interest and is accruing legal fees. Mizkif Enterprises are entitled to recover their reasonable and necessary attorney's fees. They are further entitled to attorney's fees under Texas Code. In connection with the declaratory relief sought, plaintiffs further claim any entitlement to attorney's fees that they may have at law or in equity. I always like to mention this because some people, for whatever reason, get really weird about this. Asking for attorney's fees, even though a lot of the time you do not seem to get them, at least in my experience, is common. For some reason, people think it's not. It is extremely common for a lawyer to say, and we ask for attorney's fees. Even in the most bare bones small case.
I would honestly ask, show me a fucking court case that doesn't have someone asking for some attorney fees somewhere. I'm not joking. I can't really think of any.
Yeah, even if you don't normally get it, you just ask.
You always ask, because if you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly. And everybody's always like, oh no, it's so weird to ask for that. No, it's extremely common to ask for that. I've seen cases that the final judgment amount would be like $20, all things said and done after payments are made, and the lawyer's still like, and we're asking for lawyer fees. That's just how it is. You just ask for it. Bringing in anything criminal raises the bar for evidence substantially. No, the case itself has to be criminal. You can't just kind of claim something would be criminal in a civil. Well, I mean, you can. There's a pathway for that, but that makes it so much worse for the person claiming that it's actually criminal case. In the civil case, you have to follow a civil rules of evidence, regardless of if you personally think it would be criminal or not. I only recently learned there is a way to take something civil into a criminal court, and then after reading into it, I learned that if you are ending up in that situation, you're kind of fucked to start with, and you really don't want to be in that situation. So, damages. Plaintiffs have been damaged by the acts of omission of the defendants in the following ways: reputational harm, loss of business goodwill, loss of earnings, loss of future earnings, emotional distress, and mental anguish. Conclusion and prayer. Wherefore, premises considered, plaintiff Mizkif pray this honorable court, after trial, enter judgment against defendants. 1. Awarding plaintiffs such damages as determined by the finder of fact. 2. Awarding plaintiffs reasonable and necessary attorney fees. 3. Awarding plaintiffs pre- and post-judgment interest at the maximum rate allowed by law. 4. Declaring that OTK, King, and Mythic have no claims against plaintiffs. 5. Declaring that OTK and King's attempts to divest plaintiffs of their interest in the companies at issue were ineffective as a matter of law. And 6. Granting such other and further relief as to which plaintiffs may prove themselves entitled at law or in equity. I think what really might hurt specifically OTK and Mythic and King is the taking of his shares while also asking for payment in return. Because I feel like the first thing the court would do is wonder, if you're taking the shares, which are worth a dollar amount of some amount, why is that not being put toward the amount he is owed to you? Because I feel like even a judge would ask that.
A judge is going to ask that, but the answer is probably going to be, well, that's what he owes us. The removal of his shares is the penalty that he'd done, that he was under because of the promissory note, because he was already in a probationary period, because he had already fucking breached contract back in 2023.
Explain what's going on in Minecraft terms. I don't know if I could.
I'd have to think about Minecraft for a bit.
A skeleton shot a zombie, and now all the zombies are beating up on the skeleton. I don't know.
And I got it. Chicken jockey.
Shut up. Oh, I hate Chicken Jockey. So dumb. Trial could easily be more expensive than just paying Mizkif out. Yeah, I think OTK, Mythic, and King are probably going to come to the table and want to do...
No, seriously, yeah. I could see this being a 6 or 7 figure lawsuit. Like, just in fucking fees and costs and fucking however many months or years that it would take to actually get this thing to trial.
Best thing here for them would be settle or arbitration. I really feel like they're going to settle. What is King? I actually don't know. I know what Mythic and OTK is.
King was created back in like 2015.
It
predates yeah, there it is.
Company based in Round Rock, Texas, reportedly involved in... I like how the AI overview says in a legal dispute with Mizkif. Oh, that's a good thing when people search up your name.
That's funny.
So here's a random question for you, and I've had this thought for a while. Do you think Google could ever get in trouble for the AI overview? Specifically because
that's a really good question.
Because think about when I searched King Gaming Labs Incorporated. Think that I'm somebody that maybe I'm looking for new companies to put stock in or something like that. I'm like, let's search King Gaming Labs.
Not damaging King Gaming Labs.
And the first thing I see when I search them, King Gaming Labs is currently in a legal dispute with Twitch streamer Mizkif. And it doesn't give me like a further clarification on that. It's just they are in a legal dispute. It's like, even if I don't believe Twitch streamers have like valid legal disputes, my first thing would be like, oh, well, I'm not sure I want to put money in a company that is currently in legal trouble, good or bad, because what's going to happen with that, who knows? Maybe I'll just hold off and wait.
I mean, that's a good... I don't have an answer.
Like, it puts it in a weird spot.
I feel like some of the things AI overview has, like, reported, like, should have already gotten them a trouble, so...
True. Because, like, we talk about SEO a lot, or at least we used to.
Yeah.
I feel like the AI overview is so much easier to poison the SEO of. Especially for, like, a smaller business.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like Mizkif wants to force a retraction so he doesn't lose the credit of his brand, which he could do with a civil suit, I believe.
No. He would have done a cease and desist, and they probably would have complied, and then he would have filed suit. This is... Look, he said he was gonna go full demon mode, okay? This is him just honestly following through with his threat to take everything he can down with him. I think he already knows that his reputation is probably irreparably, like, done.
Yeah.
So the question now for him is, how much damage can I do on my way down? I think that's the motivation behind this lawsuit.
What the fuck is King Gaming?
It's not really telling anybody.
Texas Foreign For-Profit Corporation, filed in Texas, domestic Delaware. Does this not help me out? Like, none of this is helping me. And it doesn't help that there's a company called King, which produces, like, Candy Crush and shit.
Yeah, that was acquired by Microsoft in 2023.
Like,
I mean, if it's a company, who cares?
I'm just
Mizkif
curious,
is
like, what
suing
they
them.
do.
Let me see here. I can Gaming Labs.
Like, if you search King Gaming Labs, like, the only thing that pops up is King the Candy Crush people, and then the lawsuit.
Oh my god, yeah, what the fuck?
And then, like, the fact that when you search this company, you actually get, like, their, this page is kind of shocking, because normally this is, like, 50 pages deep.
Yeah, that's true.
I genuinely don't know what this company does. Everything goes to the fucking Candy Crush company. There is no way OTK owns the Candy Crush people.
No, they don't. I don't know what it is, but I've lost interest.
I'm just deeply curious now.
They fucked me up.
Just a little shell company? It kind of looks like
what
it.
What are you? What do you do?
It's One True King you're looking for? No, there's 3 different companies. King Gaming Entertainment, One True King, and Mythic. And I found the... What do you call it? The page for King Gaming Labs. Like, their actual filing for their company. So, like, it is in fact a separate company. I just don't know what they do. Can't find any information on them. Nope.
Can I answer that?
But yeah, there's 3 different companies. It's I'll put them all in order.
Yeah, there's 5. There's like 5 quote-unquote defendants in the suit, guys.
Yeah, and 3 of them are different companies, which apparently are all connected through OTK. Is the mailing address P.O. Box in Delaware? No, it's in Delaware, but it's the actual business location is Texas again. For all of them, it's in Delaware, business in Texas, which is very funny. According to what I just read, as of February, Asmund said he was no longer in leadership role in the companies.
Which is fine because he's actually specifically named in the lawsuit, not as a member of one of those companies, so it's irrelevant.
Yes, what I will say is, and I'll say this for every streamer, because apparently streamers are very stupid and don't know how to keep their mouth shut, is you really need to stop saying, like, what all you're involved in, just, like, off the cuff without thinking about it. Because I have seen some places where Asmund makes suggestions that sound like he's still in a leadership role there. And it's like, this is why you just shouldn't say stuff. A lot of the times when it comes to business and stuff like that, it's not like, just don't say anything at all. Don't make a comment in regards to like the business. Just leave it open. King Gaming Labs is apparently Starforge. Starforge kept popping up, but that's all I could find. I'm gonna leave it alone. I don't know what it is. But other than that, I do have some random court cases for us today. But before we touch on that, I wanted to get Ava's opinion on the people trying to talk about Men's Mental Health Month. Mostly because I have been discussing it more from like a legal perspective a little bit. Because I don't think people realize just how like put upon guys are legally in America.
I mean, look, it's the guy always gets the short end of the stick, legally speaking, when it comes to family law, especially.
Mm-hmm. Well, it came up specifically in discussion with kind of like sexual assault stuff, right? Where I don't think a lot of people realize that when it comes to specifically the R word, in America, there are only a couple situations in which a woman can do that to a man, and it's very unfair legally, like heavily unfair. To the point, this is why a lot of ladies get off doing it to children, because you have to prove statutory in that case.
Yeah.
And statutory is the only way like a guy ever really gets assaulted in that way. In many states,
well,
you can't even like drug a guy. It's just considered battery.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm in California. I mean, you at least have like, yeah, girls can get in trouble for raping guys in California. That's all I know.
Yeah. Well, some of it's just difficult. Like I know for a fact in my state,
there's a lot of weird defenses that you can apply that you can't in the inverse. It's kind of the issue.
Well, I know in my state, both in the letter of the law and in practice, if a girl drugs a guy and then assaults him, it's considered agbat.
That's just... Are you serious?
Yeah, it's considered agbat.
Yet if a guy were to, like, hypno a girl and roofie her...
Oh, it's extreme reaction. It's very unfair.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of states require penetration, yes. And it specifically says the penetrator. So there was a group for a while that was trying to get the law changed to include forced envelopment, but they kept getting shunned away and told that it didn't matter, which is very unfortunate. I live in Texas, I have no clue what the law is. In practice in Texas, you're kind of fucked as a guy. There's also stuff that's not even like a law. I don't know how many people know this, but in most police training, if they are called to a domestic dispute, they are typically supposed to remove the guy from the house, regardless of circumstance.
But there's a lot of states that have walked that back now, though, but they'll actually arrest both parties.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, yeah, you guys, okay, you guys are, like, and that is actually in direct response to the fact that, yes, if a domestic is called, like, typically, and again, this isn't the law, this isn't what the law says, this is the cops, the chief, the academy training going, take the guy away, and just take him to holding, and then fucking, that's, like, how do you fix that?
I think
unless you have, like, a specific law, and, like, in, I think it's in Colorado. I think it's in, I know it's in California. I think it's also in Florida. You show up on a domestic, the cops are required by law, thank God, to remove both parties and arrest both parties. But again, that's for a domestic.
Yeah. So, I've always been annoyed by that particular requirement, specifically because a lot of domestic abuse shelters will not allow men in. Like, point blank. So it's weird that...
Yeah, that's true. There's actually,
The requirement is to remove men from the house, but then the shelters don't actually allow men. You both agree to a fist fight, there's no assault.
you're talking about mutual combat, and there's, even in Texas, there's quite a few exceptions to that rule.
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's there on paper.
It is there on paper. Yeah, that is true.
In the Duluth model has had horrendous consequences. That's what it's called. It's the Duluth model. I always forget the name of it.
Yeah, the Duluth. Delulu. Lum's fake emergency exposed? What the fuck? What? What did she do?
Wait, what? What did you say?
Oh, I just see you. Are you looking at Mom's fake emergency exposed?
Yes.
The story falls apart.
It's not as, like, wild as it makes it sound.
Is this the one where you said, like, the first 20 minutes is, like, you know, we're there, but, like, we pretty much, like, the last half is shit?
Well, the last half is just boring, mostly. Same with, like, this one over here. Former man sues divorce attorney for sharing privileged info with new client.
His girlfriend's ex. Okay, well, I mean, there is a conflict there.
Here's the thing, right? Based on how it all plays out, I don't necessarily think the attorney shared privileged information. However, the attorney knew very early on that the conflict existed and simply chose to not address it, which I think implies they are not particularly good attorneys.
That's a problem, yeah.
That's something you would have called out very early on. But chat, we can move on from the Mizkif stuff and just do some courts today. As we do. Let me go back to my gaming. And I guess, Ava, you can see it, right?
I can see, yeah.
So this one is Mom's fake emergency exposed. Her story falls apart in court, and this is from Court Watchers.
This is an ex parte motion at this point. I'll hear first from the movant. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
By the way, this is the judge. I don't know why. This judge kind of cracks me up, just the way he looks. Because I'm not used to... It feels so casual for some reason, even though he's clearly wearing, like, the judge robes. He looks more like one of the preachers wearing, like, the black suit type thing that they do.
Well, it's super funny. Is usually you have, like for the judge's, like, video camera, it would a little bit, and you would see him sitting, and you would actually see the...
Yeah. With this judge, they just gave him, like, a little desktop cam. Instead of, like, the...
And it's throwing me off.
What's my cool youth pastor doing in court? Oh, Ava died. We will wait for the return of the elf chat. Lurking and napping, but the 3 companies thing woke me up. I hope it isn't something shady, but it's kind of weird, the thing with the 3 companies. Also, Mizu's tummy, uo. Both of my models have tummy now. And if it works out, the third model will have more than tummy. We'll see how it goes. Also, I'm sorry to the person that
Okay, I'm
mentioned it.
back.
Welcome back. I'm sorry to the person that mentioned it earlier and I didn't see it or I didn't get a chance to mention it. But yes, I have been playing Duet Night Abyss a lot. I'm enjoying it a ton. And I spent way too much time on it last night. It's going to be my hyper obsession for the week. Also, I'm waiting for you to pop back up into VTube.
Dude, nothing's wanting to load right now. I mean, I have a really bad storm,
Not fair.
and Starlink has been acting kind of retarded.
I can just pull up the lawyer yippee.
Bean, you might want to do that, yeah, because it's not even like it's going. Steam isn't connected. Nothing's connected. But VTube Studio is now already running. Okay, yeah, we're done. We're done with this.
Yeah, we'll put the little lawyer yippee on the screen.
But yeah, get me to get to Fuggy. Hey, how
Well, you can still see the stream though, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
My name is Paige Benda and I represent Rachel. And just as a quick housekeeping matter, Your Honor, I do want to apologize to the court. There was a statement in my client's second declaration at 241 regarding mediation. My client was under the impression and it was my bad, because I was under the impression that Ms. Jensen was trying to invoke a mediation clause. So there is a reference to that at the beginning. Ms. Jensen has since clarified that, but my misunderstanding that then became my client's misunderstanding had to do not only with, I've assisted in family law for about 16 years now in the Southeast Judicial District. And so my understanding was that mediations were more permissive when there wasn't a motion for primary, but also
I do want to mention, because I think it's weird they put up a little thing in the center that says objection hearsay. While, yes, this might, like, the start of her statement might technically be hearsay, she's not offering it for, like, evidence against one side or the other. She's saying,
yeah,
I fucked up, and this is, my fuck up is literally on the paper, so I'm trying to clarify to you, Judge, that I personally fucked up because of my misunderstanding.
Yeah, no one needs to object to this.
Yeah, it's weird that they put that
Just
up.
dumb.
It's technically hearsay, but it's not something you would object to.
because of the domestic violence in this case, there's actually a prohibition at NDCC 14-09.1-02 that when no mediation can be ordered if the visitation issue may involve physical abuse of a child, which I believe is what we have here. There doesn't need to be a definitive finding. It's just whether it may involve. So just altogether there, Your Honor, I did just want to apologize. And just clarify that for index 241 and kind of how that came to be.
I will say though, so she skimmed over this really quickly, but she basically said that because of her reading of the law, she believes that they get to skip basically a bunch of different court procedure because it says may include abuse of a child, which means as long as there's an allegation, they can kind of skip whatever they feel like, which is not going to go particularly well for her early on. For obvious reasons.
But first, plaintiff does object to those hearsay portions in Jared's declaration, Mr. Bertelson's declaration, that would be at 231, and Ms. Kappas' declaration at 237. There's a lot of, it's a good portion of Ms. Kappas' declaration is actually almost written in transcript form. But Rachel does request that this court issue an interim order based upon the exceptional circumstances in this case, and they're two-pronged. There's the threat of imminent danger, and there's also circumstances here that indicate that ex parte order is necessary. Rachel and TJB's declarations have described the threat of imminent danger, but also it provides the court with the information demonstrating the circumstances that exist. And with the threat, in plaintiff's brief, 140929 parents 2 presumes imminent danger when there's a current domestic violence and a past incident of domestic violence involving a dangerous weapon. And that again, that's 140929 parents 2. And that is the presumption regarding a violent parent who does not have primary residential responsibility and that the court shall only allow supervised parenting time. And so Rachel and Tanner have submitted declarations to the court that outline the following facts. Jared drinks alcohol during his parenting time, and it led to the abuse that's described in Rachel and TJB's declaration.
So basically what mom's attorney is claiming is dad is getting drunk and abusing the kid, so dad should be not have any parenting time with the child at all. Couple like random facts that may or may not immediately sway your opinion is the child in question is, I believe, 15 or 16 and is currently going through like a very oppositional phase and has made similar claims against both mom and dad. Which could mean that both parents are abusive, or it could mean that the teen has behavioral issues.
Yeah, this is a lot to bring. I'm hoping she has some actual
Yes.
like proof of any kind.
The second thing is, I understand it because I've watched enough family court to get this. Courts do not like it when either parent drinks, regardless of amount. And I get it to some degree, but also to another degree, they unironically will treat a parent who has like a single Coors Light once a week as if they're like some violent drunkard half the time.
They're a boozer, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, they had like a beer. They probably didn't even get drunk off of that one beer.
It was 12 ounces of carbonated vodka.
Yeah.
It was vodka beer.
It's just a weird requirement the court has, and to a degree I sort of get it, because you can't, the judge isn't there, so he can't put levels on it, and everybody reacts to alcohol different. So maybe that one beer really does turn you into like a raging, rude alcoholic, who knows. But at the same time, a lot of times, as somebody who has family members that did casually drink like Coors Light and shit, it feels a little unfair.
Drinking alcohol.
Yeah, I think it's prejudicial.
Yeah.
During parenting time is prohibited by the party's judgment, and that's at Index 194 at paragraph 9, parents G. Previously, the record demonstrates that Jared was ordered to use the sober link, and that's at Index 84, paragraph 13. That was during the original divorce proceeding. And the declarations demonstrate, Your Honor, this is very important. It's not just merely the drinking alcohol in contravention of the judgment that leads to the threat of imminent danger. It's the abusive behaviors that accompany the alcohol use during parenting time that places the children in the imminent danger. Those behaviors included the threatening of violence to Tanner, telling him he would knock him out, beat his face in. That's at Index 206, parents, or paragraph 8.
I'm going to stop you right there, and I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
So when we're talking about an ex parte order, at least subfactor A requires the court to consider imminent danger. What does imminent mean to you?
Likely to happen, and I believe that that's 140922-2. That's why it's presumed when, oh, sorry, Your Honor.
So likely to happen. Why was there a 2-month delay from the basis? So stop talking when I'm talking, right?
So as an attorney, you really
very
should
nice, very nice, immediate call out.
Yeah, so I didn't want to mention that because the judge was going to bring it up, and it's a lot more fun if the judge brings it up. They are 2 months late on this imminent danger case.
There's no imminent danger, yeah.
And that's a huge sticking point for the judge for the entire thing, is that the mom is claiming imminent danger to the child, but she has to come up with excuses why she waited 2 months to deal with an imminent danger to her child.
Well, I mean, here's what I love. because this whoever's assisting with this family law case, this girl here, like she is throwing so much law and technical statutes and shit like that. That immediately has me on the like, okay, something's wrong here. And his simple question. So what does imminent mean? Like what does like imminent danger mean? Well, very likely to happen soon. This is 2 months old. What the fuck do you mean?
Also, thank you, Artemis, for the no two drinks like the Karen that pissed herself. To be fair, I think we found out later on that it was 2 drinks of like vodka in like a thermos size cup. Like she was wasted. I worked in family law long enough. You have to take any statement gingerly. These cases are venomous. This one in particular seems a bit venomous. And it seems like what's happening is they have a teenage child that is not handling the divorce well and is just kind of acting out. Probably might have like a little bit of oppositional defiance disorder going on. Who knows? Because he seems like kind of violent to both parents. Which happens sometimes. Like kids get messed up in nasty divorces. And hearing some of the detail, like the small little details we're hearing of how their divorce first went, it sounds like it probably was nasty then too. 2 months imminent, like a 2 months delay. Yeah. And yeah, as an attorney, never piss off the judge. If the judge is if you even see the judge trying to speak, it's probably better to just shut your mouth.
Honestly, yeah.
You seem a little excited. You need to just wait.
Sorry.
So why was there a 2-month delay before the statements that you're claiming form the basis for an imminent danger to the child between the time that allegedly occurred and the time that you filed your motion? How is that imminent when there's a 2-month delay in filing the motion?
Yes, Your Honor, just to address that, my client's first declaration demonstrates that Jared actually denied his parenting time, and then shortly before this was filed, started requesting parenting time again. And in my client's second declaration, and that is at index 241, my client talks about the fact that she was not only working with law enforcement, hoping that would happen and court could be avoided, but also was hoping Jared would find some help for himself. And that's in her second declaration. And Your Honor, the extent.
She's basically trying to say there was no imminent danger because Dad had normal parenting time, I guess, and had not requested more parenting time yet. And, she was hoping. But then
they said like they were looking to get the cops involved to avoid court, and I'm like, well, you are including court if you include the cops in any capacity. What are you talking about?
This is her linchpin, and the judge is gonna immediately.
It's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad argument.
That this needs to be noted because this was in defendant's responsive brief that somehow kind of utilized her having current counsel as having anything to do with that. You'll see
he's
in
not
the
buying
record,
it.
Your Honor, at index 198 is actually a service document from the state of North Dakota that
I've heard like really professional attorneys mention this before, but they've mentioned that as an attorney, you should have at some point, you should really have your eyes locked on the judge and watch how he's reacting to you.
Yeah.
So you know if he's actually interested in what you have to say or if he's skeptical of what you're doing.
If you're going to be doing any kind of trial lawyering, you want to pick up some classes in like reading body language and facial cues and shit like that. Just because you're going to want to see not only how the judge is reacting to your arguments, but if you're in front of a jury, how the jury is.
Yeah.
Like because that will tell you whether you need to pivot, pull up, pull down, lock in, whatever the fuck.
I do think, though, that she realizes the judge is not particularly on her side, but I don't think she has anything else. It feels like she's floundering really hard. Because she just keeps
immediately. I mean, she came out strong, but like he poked one hole.
And the
One
balloon
hole,
just
girl,
popped.
you're already fucking crashing. Yeah, you're diving. Jesus.
It's their notice of being a real party in interest. And if you see who that was served on both Jared and Rachel as pro se parties, because the judgment at index 194 released the former counsel. And that's at paragraph 48. So that service document is dated August 21, 2025. And that demonstrates that at least on August 21, 2025, there were two pro se parties.
Okay, continue.
Okay.
If you have any other argument.
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. Jared denies that he has made these threatening statements, but Your Honor, if you look at Exhibit C at Index 205, this is an adoptive admission.
So, you're gonna love this part. What was the one we had last time
Okay.
where they got really hung up on extrinsic versus intrinsic fraud? And they kept trying to...
that's right. That was the, yeah. He was getting really fucking, objectory to it. It's like, yeah, no, and I got really agitated and I'm over it.
Yeah, don't worry. We're gonna have a lot of discussion this time about admissions versus adoptive admissions. Which I heard
God
that.
fucking damn it.
Don't worry, she'll explain what an adoptive admission
If I had
is.
my model, he'd be the angry face right now.
Where Jared failed to provide a denial when he was confronted with threatening TJB and saying the only thing you'll ever be good at is, I don't know if Your Honor wants me to say it
Wait, did you just
on the
hear
live.
that?
Yes.
See, failed to submit a denial. So he remained silent, and you're trying to use that as guilt.
Yes.
I'm thinking that's probably a fucking civil rights fucking violation. What the fuck are you on, girl?
We're not failed to provide a denial to police, failed to provide a denial to mother. What she's gonna go off with is
my God.
mother texts him an accusation, and if he does not reply to that accusation, she claims that that is him admitting the accusation was true. And that is what she refers to as an adoptive admission.
She's going to, dude, no, absolutely. Okay. Okay, that is infuriating. She should not be a lawyer if she's, I don't care if you're taking this client's argument and you're actually putting it in front of a judge. Fuck you. Like, this isn't even any local statute. You are literally violating this man's fucking constitutional rights because it involves another private citizen. What the fuck?
Yeah. Like there's places that mention an adoptive admission. However, I've never seen it used in court. I've only ever seen it talked about, right? So here's like U.S. legal adoptive admission law and legal definition. Adoptive admission means an act or declaration by a party indicating the approval of a statement made by the other. Adoptive admission infers the acceptance of the truth of the act or declaration made by the other party. In order to constitute an adoptive admission, the following conditions must be satisfied. A, the statement was made to the defendant or made in his or her presence. B, the defendant heard and understood clearly the statement. C, the defendant would, under all circumstances, naturally have denied the statement if he or she thought it was not true. And D, the defendant could have denied it, but did not. In the People versus Zavala, which was a California case, the court observed that for the adoptive admission exception to the hearsay rule to apply, direct accusation in so many words is not essential to warrant admissibility. It is sufficient that the evidence supports a reasonable inference that an accusatory statement was made under circumstances affording a fair opportunity to deny the accusation. Whether the defendant's conduct actually constituted an adoptive admission becomes a question for a jury to decide.
Yeah, there's a lot already here that doesn't match up with what she's trying to say an adoptive admission is.
Yeah. That said, after I saw this, I started looking up some cases. I really don't see much happening with adoptive admission. All I see
big time not, because it's a...
Well, all I could really find with adoptive admission is it's a way to get something in past the hearsay rule, but it's not necessarily a way to confirm the truth or veracity of a statement. It's just a way to get it in front of the judge himself. So ultimately, it kind of feels useless a little bit. I could see it working with a jury.
It's a very weak argument.
Like,
oh my God, well, that's the thing. Would a judge allow such an adoptive admission to be used in front of a jury?
Yeah. Nerdy text an accountant for 2. Ava is going to be our teacher. Also head pats. Thank you for the head pats. I can do my head pats. I don't have one for Ava, unfortunately. Actually, here, can I do this? Oh, no, I can't. I can't touch it. It's stuck to my head.
Stream.
If you cross-examination, don't press or question a statement or expert, but let it through. It would be to get something around hearsay itself. Not necessarily to get something done in cross. As far as I could see, it doesn't... There's not really many examples of it being used in court. And when it is used in court, it doesn't particularly look like it swings a case one way or the other. It's a very niche kind of law, it seems, as far as I could find when I researched it. I could be wrong.
Can sneeze number 1.
Yeah.
And then Exhibit E at index number 403 demonstrates another adoptive admission by Jared, where he does not deny that he said he would beat the minor child's face in, was raising his fist, or even just being on top of him. And those are non-hearsay exhibits, Your Honor, including the statements preceding that under North Dakota Rule of Evidence 801 D2B.
Funny that you mentioned the way of getting past hearsay, because she just qualified that these were non-hearsay statements.
Yeah, I think she's...
So that's exactly why she's using it this way.
Yeah, she's specifically trying to bring it in to get it around hearsay. Problem is, just because you can get around the hearsay, like court rule, doesn't necessarily mean you get around the stigma of hearsay itself, right? Which is why as far as I could find, I couldn't see this particular argument being very strong in any cases that it was used in. Because at the end of the day, yes, you got it in front of the court around the hearsay exception, but the court still saw it as hearsay. Like, you can't get over that stigma, right? That's just associated with it being hearsay itself.
Yeah.
It's a statement offered against the opposing party, and it's one that he manifested or adopted to believe to be true. The texts demonstrate clearly set forth accusations, which a reasonable person could understand. Jared had the opportunity and he had the ability to reply. And as demonstrated by the exhibits, he did have that ability because he did reply.
Does he have an obligation to reply?
I would think that a reasonable person would deny those statements if they were not made.
Does he have an obligation? Does he have to deny every allegation that your client makes? Otherwise, it's considered an admission.
This is what I mean. Like,
there you go. I mean, yeah, that was exactly where I was. I'm like, there's no obligation to reply, to deny or fucking affirm or do anything. If I fucking heard that, I'd be like, well, fuck you. I would not even give it the time of day.
Yeah, and that's like she got it in around the hearsay objection, but he's still like, okay, so it's in front of me now. Does he even have to reply?
Why is he obligated to reply? Yeah, exactly.
Like, why does he have to reply to your client? Like, especially if you're in like a nasty
And
divorce.
then I love the logic too being thrown back. It's like, so you tell me any accusation has to be replied to, otherwise it's an admission.
Yeah.
You are sitting here telling me these things.
It's so funny.
Your Honor, in this instance, we would argue that that demonstrates an adoptive admission in the, parent child being confronted with those statements and just not responding, even though they were clearly set forth.
So that wasn't responsive to my question. Does he have an obligation to respond to every single allegation that your client makes? Otherwise,
So, little tip as a non-lawyer to somebody who clearly is a lawyer, you can do non-responsive a little bit to the opposing lawyer. You can't do non-responsive to the judge. If the judge asks you a yes or no question, you better be prepared to yes or no that shit.
Yeah, I'm surprised she thought she could politician her way out of that.
Yeah, and the judge just throws it right in her face, says, "You didn't answer my question, so let's try this again."
Yeah, the DM right now is going, "Are you sure?" Listen to the DM.
it's considered an admission.
Your Honor, to the extent that he would have to, respond to other things not involving actions and behaviors towards the child, I would say this is a situation where, under the judgment, the parents are to work together. They have joint decision-making responsibility. They're supposed to talk about these types of things. And I guess I would argue that a parent would have an obligation to, affirmatively respond or deny to those.
Lady, that is the face of a judge who's like, "You're not going to answer my question, are you?"
No, yeah.
You've lost him. He's like, "I'm not going to get my answer, am I?" She's just going to keep doing this.
Those types of accusations.
Do you have any citation to law supporting that position?
No, Your Honor, just that they have the joint decision-making responsibility. So I think that it's just expected under having joint decision-making responsibility that they could have conversations about this. And so
I will tell you this again, as a not lawyer, so could be way off base with this. I'm from cases I've seen though, I'm pretty sure I'm spot on with this. If the judge says, "Do you have any laws that say that?" he's basically telling you that unless you slap down a law in front of him, you've lost.
Yeah.
He's basically being like, "Yeah, I don't think that's right."
Stop moving. You're wasting energy. You're dying.
As soon as the judge says, "Do you have a law that says that?" you're done. Your argument lost unless you have a law that you can slap in front of his face that says, "Yes, this is how it works." He's not going with you.
So I think that's, just to answer Your Honor's question, I think that's where the reasonable expectation of responding would come in.
All right, anything else?
Yes, I would also note that, the other children are not unaffected by this domestic violence. And it's not just that first prong, Your Honor, of the imminent danger. And I understand that. I understand that there's a concern regarding the timing of the filing and waiting 2 months, but also that
you're 2 months fucking behind, bitch.
Yeah. I know there's a concern that we said it's imminent and then we waited 2 full months, but like, shut up.
Imminent means like any second, this guy's gonna fucking kill everyone.
Yeah.
Like that's the gravitas that you are applying when you use that kind of language. So to use that kind of language in a fucking motion that was delayed by 2 months is feeding.
Jared, kind of changing his tune on that. And then my client, as she said, you know, in her declaration, she's just stuck in a terrible position, but there is the basis of just the circumstances indicating that it's necessary. And I think those circumstances have to do with what wasn't denied by Jared, what is attested to by TJB in the declaration.
Whore mouth.
She's struggling. Like that one question really did like throw her off.
It did. I mean, look, guys, this is what like Mizu does to people on a daily basis. This is what you did at Penumbral. It's like you asked one question and he just derailed and destroyed the entire track.
Yeah. That's all this judge had to do. It was just, why did you wait 2 months? And suddenly she's like, I want to get it. I didn't get it.
But it's still important.
What is attested by my client of actually hearing, and the court has the power to, you know, follow or to review the 1409, excuse me, Your Honor, has the power to review that 142209 too, and under 1409.
Oh, hey, look, Ava's back. Check that out.
I did it.
Now people can see Avery being mad.
That's actually the only reason why I did this. Here we go.
Also, band dog member for 3 months. Thank you. Your Honor, I was arrested for public intoxication in an airport. It was just 2 shots of vodka.
Dude, that was such, honestly, I've actually told Papa Elfire about that one. Because, I mean, she was literally, like, she was carried out by, like, 4 officers, and she was just pissing on all of them.
So I'm not
Like, that's
drunk.
how that fucking one ended. You are fucking wasted, girl.
I had one drink. Just one.
Straight up white girl wasted.
Maybe 2 drinks. Maybe 2. But yeah, they were light
really
drinks.
What was really sad is, like, her life was over.
Oh yeah, no.
I remember I went into that whole, like, of like, this is what happened, and then we find out through her fucking vernacular. No, that's actually what happened. She lost her job at the airport during a business trip.
While sloshed.
Jesus.
And got carried out by officers.
I mean, God.
And is on the internet
in a state
now.
that you don't even belong in.
Yeah. I would never come out of my room. We're getting one of those stay-at-home jobs now.
Too, and it provides that, you know, if Jared has that prior act of domestic violence, and then if the court finds that, you know, domestic violence as pursuant to Rachel and TJB's declaration as they set out, then the court shall only order supervised parenting time. And I think the other circumstances that demonstrate it's necessary are that those accusations have been made. Rachel heard those statements that Jared's now denying. And in order, as Rachel said, for the safety of all the children, it's necessary that a sober link provision be put into place.
All right, anything else?
Yes.
Is it me or is her voice cracking now?
I honestly feel like she's close to tears.
Judge looks uninterested. Well, yeah, because she's not really, like, giving him anything to work with. She's just like, my client really, really, really wants dad to not have time and to wear a sober link. Okay, why? Well, she really, really
Yeah, and
does.
also have, like, Cordy, like, acknowledge him as a fucking, an alcoholic, child beater. Like, you are asking for an awful lot, girl.
What is a sober link? Here, give me second for you, chat. I think they have a public.
Are you gonna show it?
I think they have a public thing. Yeah, they do. So this is the SoberLink website. It's basically for people that have like a drinking problem, really. I think they're partnered with the government, but they're not like a government business itself. Basically, you're gonna there's a lot going on this. You can see the little device you use for it has like a facial recognition software, so they can tell that it's you blowing into it, and you have to blow into it. Yeah, like it's like a breathalyzer. And then you basically have like this app where you have to talk to the SoberLink people. By the way, if you ever, for whatever reason, have to do one of these, because I've actually seen people have to do these that really don't have a drinking problem, just because sometimes the courts will order that. Remember to wash out, if you do drink, to wash out your straw every time you do this. This is actually one of the problems with breathalyzers, is they don't wash them as thoroughly as they should sometimes, and there is residuals of alcohol inside the straw itself that throw off the reading.
That is true.
So if for whatever reason you have to do one of
There's
these,
a lot of things
clean
that
your
can throw
fucking
off the
straw.
Did you know that enough capsaicin, aka anything spicy, if you eat spicy enough food, it will actually trick a breathalyzer into not like into tripping. So like again, I don't know about this because it's a weird the SoberLink is clearly targeting the government to do this, and it's Jesus.
Yeah, the thing is,
I don't like it.
breathalyzers have inaccuracy problems. They're not like horrendously inaccurate. Like you never get anything correct for it. But they do have accuracy problems based on maintenance and cleaning, and there's a lot of stuff you have to do with it. SoberLink obviously claims that they have like I've seen their representatives in court before. They claim like they have like a 98% accuracy rating on it. But if you think about how many people get busted for like alcohol and shit, 2% of people getting false positives is a big deal. But yeah, that's all the SoberLink is. It's a very fancy breathalyzer, basically. Monster triggers a 0.04 because of sugar alcohol. That's funny. Here, chat, we're gonna fact check you real quick. Energy drinks have been known to sometimes do false positives. Huh. Study shows that while false positives are situational after consuming an energy drink, the risk for a false positive is very real, especially considering the number of people that drink energy drinks while driving. So the chance of a false positive is low. The problem is so many people drink them that there's a bunch of false positives popping up. The study had volunteers sample 27 of the most popular brands of energy drinks after finishing an entire can. Each volunteer was tested repeatedly using both portable breath test as well as dedicated breathalyzer machines used in police stations across the state. According to the results, the most powerful breathalyzer machines never gave a false positive. However, the results for the portable breath test machines would not pick up any false positives after 15 minutes, but would pick up a ton of false positives within the first minute after drinking it. So if you have an energy drink with you, you get pulled over by the police, don't take a sip. I think that's the lesson of this story.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because in that first minute, you have a very high chance of doing a false positive.
Just real quick, especially supporting circumstances that are necessary, is the fact that Jared has failed to demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that unsupervised parenting time with him would not endanger TJB's physical or emotional health. He didn't even deny that he was utilizing alcohol on August 9th. He just made specific denials that he wasn't drinking on the way home or when speaking with the deputy. If the court believes that Jared made these statements that were in TJB's declaration, of which my client said she overheard while on speakerphone, then Jared's refusal to even admit the same demonstrates the future danger to TJB's physical and emotional health. And it's also Jared.
By the way, I don't know if chat heard that because I started her when she was in the middle of it, but she says that he denied drinking and driving, and he denied drinking to the officer, but he did not deny drinking to the mother, ergo he was drinking. She's unironically using this as an
Dear
argument.
God, that's an extremely brain-dead statement.
Like, he denied drinking in this case, and he denied drinking in this other case, but he didn't deny drinking to the mom, therefore he was lying in the other two cases. Okay, good luck with that one, lady. And you could tell the judge is not particularly invested in that idea.
Failing to demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence how this behavior would change or how the children would be safe. So this just demonstrates an inability to safeguard TJB or the other minor children if there's no sober link provision, if there's no supervised parenting time. And, prior domestic violence with use of a dangerous weapon, the domestic violence perpetrated on August 9th, it included, a sexual statement made to the child that was described in TJB's and Rachel's declaration. So to be clear, this isn't something that TJB is just saying as a 14-year-old child. My client overheard those statements. She overheard the beat your face in, the sexual statement. And in accordance with 140929 parents 2, the court should allow.
I kind of agree with Ava now. It sounds like the lawyer's about to cry, and I don't know why.
Doesn't it? I swear to God, it sounds like she's like, she knows everything she's saying is bullshit, and she's like, I'm fucking fired, man.
He sounds like she's getting really nervous.
Only supervised visitation with TJB, but because Jared's response that was just a blanket denial, despite my client witnessing those statements, the court should implement the sober link requirement for Jared's parenting time until further order of the court. Of the court.
So just to have it all clear out here, and the judge is going to have to go back and forth with her for a while to get it all cleared up. What she is claiming is that teenage son called mom during the reported event. Mom overheard in the background of the phone father saying these things. That is her claim for knowledge about what happened. So she doesn't have any real hard evidence. She's just like, well, I overheard it through the cell phone. That's kind of weak. Kind of a lot weak.
And thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have. And I apologize for interrupting you before, Your Honor. I didn't mean to.
Thank you. Ms. Jensen.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple of housekeeping matters before I get into my argument. First and foremost, Your Honor, is TJB available today? I'm unsure if he is at Ms. Benda's office or not.
Ms. Benda?
Yes, he's very far away, but he is here.
I don't know why she didn't immediately answer that. Is he at your office or not? Dead silence, and the judge finally has to be like, Miss Benda? Is he?
Hello?
We paying attention?
He is far away from the hearing.
Why?
He's across.
It's devastating my case, Your Honor.
Devastating to my case.
The office in a separate conference room so that he can't hear anything.
Thank you, Your
Well,
Honor.
then, no, look at that.
With respect to Ms. Benda's assertion that Mr. Bertelson has made some sort of an adoptive admission by not responding to Ms. Wallender's allegations, I'm significantly concerned because I think that creates a very slippery slope, especially when you have a very high conflict family law matter where If Mr. Bertelsen would have denied making those statements, then what happens? The parties just continue to argue about who's being truthful and who's denying them and whether or not that's an admission or not. Additionally, Your Honor, I don't believe that there's any case law supporting Ms. Benda's contention. So I would ask that the court take Mr. Bertelsen's failure to respond or willful decision to not respond to Ms. Wallender's allegations that he made those statements with the weight that it deems appropriate. With respect, Your Honor, to
Objection, slippery slope fallacy. Unironically, it works in this case.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, because by the way, that's actually something some courts unironically have to consider, because it will set a precedent sometimes for more courts, but specifically in their own courtroom moving forward, that if they kind of allow this in this case, it'll be expected in the future that they will allow it every case without like specific extenuating circumstances. So if he's just like, well, I'll just allow if somebody doesn't deny something that we'll take that as factually true, then in his very next case, somebody could be like, well, you allowed it, in your previous case, you've set a standard in this courtroom that because he didn't deny it, because I guess he didn't see it like in time, now you have to accept it as factually true. Because that's what you said. Courts actually do have to consider the slippery slope fallacy, unironically. Also, bad Gabby. Down.
140929 sub 2. I'm looking at that provision of the statute right now, and I do not believe that it has any application to the situation before the court. That section specifically states that if the court finds that a parent has perpetrated domestic violence and that parent does not have residential responsibility and there exists one
She's really
incident
relying
of
on
domestic
that.
On what?
If there's even one instance of domestic violence, fuck everyone's rights after that.
Yeah. She was kind of hung up on that.
domestic violence which resulted in serious bodily injury or involved the use of a dangerous weapon, or there exists a pattern of domestic violence within a reasonable time proximate to the proceeding, the court shall allow only supervised parenting time with that parent unless there is a showing by clear and convincing evidence that unsupervised parenting time would not endanger the child's physical or emotional health. Now, I'm sure the court is concerned, as is every individual involved in family law, that there's going to be some potential for future domestic violence or whatever it may be. However, that statute and Ms. Wallander has not, put forth the evidence necessary to even indicate that portion of the statute is even applicable to this situation. Therefore, Your Honor, I would ask that the court not even consider that part of the statute with the facts before it. Now, Your Honor, our concern with this motion for ex parte interim order is that it quite clearly does not rise to the level as articulated in Rule 8.2. Rule 8.2a, as the court noted, requires exceptional circumstances, which means that there needs to be an imminent danger to the minor child or circumstances indicating that an ex parte order is necessary. And I've more clearly and more discussion outlined the actual rule in my brief, so I won't repeat it. But suffice it to say, Your Honor, that it's our position that plaintiff's motion should be denied in its entirety because it fails to meet those stringent requirements. First and foremost, Your Honor, Ms. Wallender's declaration should ultimately be excluded. She lacks a large amount of firsthand knowledge concerning what actually happened that day, and her entirety, almost the entirety of her entire declaration, is based upon inadmissible hearsay from TJB. She was not present. She did not observe any of Mr. Bertelsen's behavior, her son's behavior, or frankly, anything that occurred between TJB, Mr. Bertelsen, Ms. Kappas, and her entire extended family, and the party's other minor children that were also present. Ms. Wallender's firsthand information, Your Honor, is limited to the very short period of time that she showed up to Mr. Bertelsen's house when law enforcement was present to pick up TJB and a few of his belongings. That is the only competent testimony that Ms. Wallander actually provides in her declaration. Therefore, we don't think the court should even consider it. More importantly, as the court touched on, is the timing of this motion for ex parte interim order. 2 months was waited until someone brought this motion for ex parte interim order. There's no reason, there's no basis or explanation as to why there was such a significant delay. Even if there was, Your Honor, the simple fact that someone waited 2 months to bring this motion demonstrates that there's not imminent danger. There's not a concern or circumstance necessitating the issuance of an ex parte interim order. Now, Your Honor, even if the court would consider Ms. Wallender's declaration and considered Ms. TJB's declaration, there's a complete failure to demonstrate exceptional circumstances exist to grant her motion for ex parte interim order. The declaration of TJB, Your Honor, is that of a 14-year-old teenager. It paints a very one-sided story accusing Mr. Bertelsen of yelling and screaming and acting out of control for, if you look at Tanner TJB's declaration, for no reason. It doesn't provide a basis for Mr. Bertelsen's behavior. TJB completely leaves out that part of the story, which Mr. Bertelsen and Ms. Kappas, who were also present at this event or this incident, explained in detail in their declarations. The declaration of TJB, again, written by a 14-year-old, and is clearly drafted with the intent to minimize the situation and to reduce any blowback he may get out of this situation because of his attitude and his behavior that day. Additionally, Your Honor, there are significant concerns with TJB's veracity, maturity, and who wrote his declaration. If the court reviews his declaration, it comes from a very mature voice, and again, takes away a lot of, it minimizes a lot of his behavior that he participated in that day. Ms. Wallander and TJB also failed to disclose to the court that he has a history of acting out and has had a similar situation occur at Ms. Wallander's home, which Mr. Bertelsen provided the court with information pertaining to that. In that specific situation, TJB actually accused Ms. Wallander's husband of putting his hands on his neck or strangling him during an altercation where TJB was again acting out and Mr. Bertelsen's brother had to go over and defuse the situation. Regardless of what occurred at Ms. Wallander's home, there is a serious concern with TJB's veracity and maturity in this situation and his ability to be entirely truthful. More telling, Your Honor, is the fact that the allegation concerning the incident on October 9th, TJB has continued to text Mr. Bertelsen and request to come to his property to go hunting. Mr. Bertelsen has responded and explained to TJB that they need to sit down and discuss the incident from 2 months ago and navigate a path moving forward to repair their relationship. TJB has indicated a resistance to this plan, but even as recent as last week, Your Honor, he was texting his father asking him if he and a friend could come to the house and go hunting on Mr. Bertelsen's land. In fact, on one occasion when TJB texted Mr. Bertelsen, TJB responded in a very defiant manner and said, "You don't even own this property. Here's the Zillow listing, so I can come and go hunting if I want to." This continued contact and the statements that the conversations that Mr. Bertelsen and TJB have in these text messages do not indicate that TJB is scared of his father or feels as though he's in danger. He is a defiant.
I think Ava probably gets what I mean by like the start of it's very interesting, and then after that it's kind of like, no, that's
now
pretty
it's
standard.
Exactly.
Like she knows what she's doing. She's a good lawyer.
Yeah, she does.
But she's very kind of bog standard, I would say. It's not like
It's dry.
the last catty black dude that was absolutely
dude,
like
I love
crushing
that,
it.
He was.
You've just seen things, man. Horrible things. So guys, I will kind of leave it up to you. Do you want to continue through this one? Because it is going to be kind of bog standard from here on out. Or are you good with just kind of hearing the opening there? And mom's lawyer
just the opening.
Mom's lawyer just getting crushed back and forth. Make your voices known, chat. Judge has seen things, man. To be fair, he is a family court judge. They've all kind of seen things. Family court is horrendous. Heard enough. Fair, fair. Well, I have another one, chat. But how long was this one? 45 minutes. It could be a while. Let me see if I have a cop one for people, because I know people like the in-betweens a little bit.
But yeah, those ones are pretty good.
Let's see. Going back a little bit.
Oh my god, I'm a Dojin character.
Thank you for the Dojin character, chat. God, I have a lot of stuff in my thing. I kind of let my my YouTube pick videos for me while I'm at work, because I'm at work. I don't have time to like look for stuff. So it makes my watch history get filled up with all kinds of stuff. Including stuff I would probably be questioned for if I ever got pulled over. Why are you looping? Stop looping. Ooh, this is a short one. I could show you this one. So, long story short with this one, is you end up with like a kind of a crazy Karen in court, right? And
Oh,
she's one of those that does not know when she's supposed to be quiet. When she should just take the L and walk it off. And this one is from the Court of Public Opinions channel, which is actually a channel I like because they typically find the crazy ones. And you know their channel because they always open with like this clip from, I don't know what it's from, but I recognize the guy because he's a voice actor in a couple different like cartoon shows.
Okay. Go! Will you hand me my scream box?
Now go.
This is the people of the state of Michigan versus Mandy Morgan, case number 18-07768-FH.
And this matter comes before the court today on Miss Morgan's request to set aside a conviction, two convictions of assault, resist, obstruct a police officer from 2019. So, as an initial matter, counsel, why don't you place your appearance on the record?
Bonnie Pravet on behalf of the people.
Very well. And ma'am, you're Miss Morgan? You're going to have to unmute Miss Morgan.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Miss Morgan, I'm going to swear you in if you'd please raise your right hand.
Yes, sir.
All right. And Ms. Morgan, did you receive the prosecutor's office's response to your motion?
Some people are mentioning it. If there's like some katana cam footage, feel free to send it to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me double check. Wait, if you're in my Discord, you could put it in the Lawtism channel. I don't recall ever hearing about a somebody with the katana. As long as nobody got shot. I don't really like watching videos of people getting shot. Unless it's with a taser. Taser's fine.
Yes, I did. I didn't understand it, though.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that I received that. And did you receive a copy of the letter from Police Department Detective Levi Guppy?
I think it was some man. It was some man who wrote a letter. He said he can't appear in court.
Yeah. He was a Grand Rapids police officer, and the gist of his letter there was that, and I'm not certain if it was, it was in connection with this incident because he describes the resisting and obstructing as you trying to force your way into a vehicle against his orders at the time while you were intoxicated. And stemming out of that, then he states there were false allegations, including internal affairs complaints with the police department and the jail.
Okay, I see the katana video and the autism. Does he get shot? Because I don't like doing videos of people getting shot.
Yeah, no,
I
we're
see-
not habitual. Wait, no, what's his name? We're not donut operator, okay? We're not revealing people getting shot.
Unironically, I forget what video he did, but there was one video he did where he tried to justify the officer shooting somebody. And to me, it was like so aggressively wrong on the officer's part that it actually made me stop watching him permanently after that.
God damn.
It really put a sour taste in my mouth. And I watched one of his videos again the other day, and I don't know if it was just like I didn't see it before, but there was just some stuff he would do where like, because he uploads he'll watch cop cams on stream and then he'll upload it as a separate video. But his editor will leave in parts where he's just constantly fighting with chat. And I'm like, why? Why didn't you like cut this out? Like you're just randomly fighting with chat all the time over random bullshit. Like take a chill pill, Jesus. Also, Pedro says no, so I guess he does not get shot. So maybe we'll look at that.
Alleging discourtesy, excessive force, sexual discrimination, and racial discrimination, and also with the Department of Civil Rights against the city of Grand Rapids. Detective Guppy, and the county sheriff's office. And that ultimately all those investigations concluded by 2022 with the finding of that they weren't supported or that they were false in the case of the internal affairs complaints. So he is requesting that I deny the request to set aside the conviction based on, one of the standards to set aside conviction is that the amount of time has passed since the conviction, and second, that your conduct during the time since the conviction has been good enough to merit setting aside the conviction. Why shouldn't I do what the detective wants me to do in this case and deny your request at this time?
Well, I was abused that whole night.
Oh
I
my
had brought
God.
out body cams with that lawyer that I had. He's not saying any of that, Judge. He's not saying anything about how he punched me into my head multiple times. The only reason why I went to go into the truck with the key is to turn my alarm off. And I was in handcuffs already. I got slammed to the ground. I got almost beaten to death outside and in the jail.
All right. Well, I was there. Obviously, I didn't see what happened. What lawyer represented you in the matter?
I don't remember her name, but I know she was tall and she had red hair.
Okay. Was she your...
What do you think about this, Ava? Because I've heard this a lot with these kind of cases, where they'll say, "Okay, what was your lawyer?" and they're like, "I don't know."
You can't do that.
Yeah, I hear it a lot.
Come on, who?
How do you believe they actually don't remember? Is I guess my question.
No, I don't.
Every time.
Maybe that's rude, but I just don't. I do not.
Yeah. Like because you were with this lawyer for who knows how long, and you tell me you can't even remember their name? Sure,
Exactly.
okay.
criminal.
It was a long time ago, so I
It
really
might have been Laura Joyce, I suppose.
Yes,
She's with the
yes, I think
defender's
that's
office, and
yes.
it's your description. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, the bottom line though is that even after reviewing the cameras and you know, the information during the investigation, none of those agencies found a reason to, you know, sustain your complaint or even write a letter of reprimand, much less take any disciplinary action. You know, it sounds to me like that the allegations, you know, weren't supported adequately by the video and things like that, or I would have expected some sort of outcome to come out of those investigations. So, you know, I guess
they didn't even give me a chance to, you know, even voice my opinion on how that happened. Even my auntie was the one who called the police and lied. How am I driving with my daughter when my car was parked in my auntie's yard and my dad had my keys? See, nobody was there, you know, to actually see really what happened.
Nobody was there.
Yeah.
My whole
Not a single one.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm getting a little funny. Let's just say that.
family seen it, and I feel like how they almost killed me that night. I feel that I should have a chance of freedom of all the good. I mean, I've been good for how many years? I haven't even been a felon. My background isn't even bad. I'm not that type of person.
Why don't you describe to me some of the other things you've been up to since that time?
I got me a job. I work at Cisco at sanitation.
Okay.
I DoorDash. I have a 14-year-old daughter.
How long you been working at Cisco?
Almost a month now.
Okay.
It just hurts me because they almost killed me. And my mental state is really bad against, like, I'm scared to death of the police. How a man feels like they can punch me in my head that hard and so many times and expected me just to take it. And how they threw me in the holding cell and put their knees in my back, sir.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I of course wasn't there. I didn't see any of those things. I do see that, you know, ultimately coming out of that, you did plead to the two.
They made me plead to that too, and it also says attempt as a misdemeanor.
Right.
They made me plead to that.
Yeah.
They made me plead to that because of what they did. They didn't want me to go further with what they did to me out there.
Well, I mean,
body cams were shown in the court and everything.
You know, when I do take pleas, you know, every week, and when you take one, you do have to say that, you know, you are guilty of what the charges are, and that, you know, no one's threatening you or, you know, making any side deals with you, as it were. And it sounds like then that, you know,
in that court hearing, it was all types of side deals. The man wasn't even there during any court hearing. I just don't find this fair at all.
Well, I understand. However, you know, part of the set-aside process is, you know, that taking the responsibility for what happened in the past. And it sounds like, unfortunately, you're just not there yet. And you know, there may be, you know, say, I don't understand the underlying.
Well, is there any way that I could push this further of them beating me since they want to push everything away? Because if I can't do this now.
Thoughts, Ava?
Dying at minute 20.
Not fair.
Now, then I'm going to push this through
You're
the
not really
courts.
there. Can I push it further then? Can I get even crazier with my accusations? They swung me around by my hair.
Oh, they put their hands on me and almost killed me over a lie that somebody called on me.
Yeah, the only thing I can advise is certainly a lawyer could take up those complaints. You know, if they found there was enough of a case there, you could.
Yes, I am, because I would really like, and I would like to, if anyone could send me his information, where I can give to a lawyer, because this right here, I feel that's not right, that a police officer had a right to punch me as big as he is with handcuffs on me in the back of my head. so
All right,
many
well,
times.
here's what I'll do is I'm gonna deny it today. However, I'll mark on the denial that you can reapply in a year. That'll give you some time to go through it with a lawyer. Guy I used to work with, Steve Drew, handles complaints against police officers. He's at
Yes, I would really like to
Drew
push
Cooper
through with that
Nanding.
because
If you want someone to review the case, he'll at least review it. You know, and I can't make any comment as to its merit, but you
Is
can
she about to
certainly
lose her
tell
mind?
Steve that.
We're getting close. You gotta crash
I
out,
feel
Ava.
like we're getting close. Yeah, I feel like the crash out is like we could do a crash out timer and like 15 seconds from it.
Judge Rossi recommended him, you know, as an attorney to possibly review the case at least.
yeah, because I want to reopen that up or something because I feel that that's not right that happened to me in front of my daughter.
Yeah, no, and I
In
guess
front
what
of
I'm getting
everybody,
here-
my daughter had to see them abuse me and almost kill me outside, throw me in the police car, and then all of them did it to me in jail.
Yeah.
I wish that lawyer was here
What?
because she understood exactly and she's seen what happened.
Well, and certainly if
She's seen it.
you know,
And
Mr.
that
H is-
man,
Seen all of it.
She's seen it. She's seen things, man.
Seen it.
he has no heart with God. That's all I can say.
Well, Mr.
Look
Joyce
at
still
how
works at the
annoyed Bonnie
defender's
is.
office.
I don't know who Bonnie is, but it's amazing. she's like, oh my god. She literally took her glasses off for a second. Cause you're like, this bitch, I swear to God.
You know, I'd certainly be willing to either hear her testimony or review any letter or anything she would submit in support. But you know what I've got right now is two different, you know, sides of the story saying the opposite thing. You know, I've
I
got
feel
you
that
saying
you're
this was
believing
terrible.
him. You're taking
yeah.
his side.
Well, all I can.
And that's okay. That's okay because like I said, God sees what happens and how people treats people.
I agree.
oh.
All I
It's
can
not-
say
Oh
is
not
shit,
so-
God, okay. Goddamn. We're really in there now, huh?
Exactly.
Fucking God's involved.
Jesus is gonna come down and free me from prison.
Gee.
with this.
yeah, and it seems like the paperwork, at least on. You
And
know,
for
from
you to
his
sit
perspective,
there and
cleared him.
discriminate towards me like I didn't learn knowing you wasn't there, I feel that ain't right either, sir. That's
Yep,
not
no.
right at all.
I understand the.
So I would like to push this further, very
and you can
higher. And
also
matter of fact, I
appeal,
want to sue
there's no
them for
pushing this.
abusing me and almost killing me.
Well, I'd like to say I'd recommend on the civil side, talk to Steve Drew. He can give you the parameters if it's a good case or not. That he.
It's definitely going to be a good case because then body cams is going to get brought back in.
All right. Well, like
Damn
I
body
appreciate
cams. The damn body cams up in here with my Liam Neesons.
that.
And then you can bring this to set it aside again in a year when maybe there's a little more clarity on.
I don't see how it's clarity when you're not even trying to. You're listening to mainly what he did and say it's okay for a man to abuse a woman.
Well, I don't want to say that, but I do say that, you know, it looks like from his perspective, at least, all those internal investigations that they did in the Department of Civil Rights, I assume did not find
He
any.
the one who stopped all that. He did. So
Well,
yeah.
but those are independent,
just-
you know,
what-
they
what
have
the-
some.
But for
I guess average cops have the capability to just stop internal affairs investigations. Didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, how'd you not know that, Ava? Police are
Yeah,
very powerful.
I mean, hey, you learn something new every day.
you to sit there and discriminate towards me, though, out of all
Well,
those
I'm
7
not
years
trying to
that I
be
never been a
discriminatory.
felon, I
My
never
God.
assaulted nobody, I never did anything like that. So yeah, for you to say that to me, that's not right at all.
Yep,
So
I
yeah,
understand your
let's push
position,
this
but-
further.
In fact,
and I'd
that's
rather
racist. In fact, I think we should crucify you. In fact, I think that's the only way we could actually make this right. I'm gonna push this through.
this.
Yep, I'm just reading the file, so the request.
Exactly. That's all you're doing is reading a file. You're
No,
not
that's
sitting
all
here understanding
we're-
as a man, feeling it's okay for them to punch me all in my head and throw me on the ground for a lie that my auntie said. That was the whole thing was a lie. And I'm going to push that too because it's not right to make false lies to the police.
All right,
That's
well,
against the
False
law.
lies to the police.
I
Yeah,
understand
you're right.
what you're saying, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
more
okay,
than willing
gotcha.
to hear additional.
That's about where she cuts
I know, guys.
it.
I think she has a strong case. I mean, call me crazy.
Oh, she's convinced she like nailed this. Somehow.
Yeah, Jesus. I don't know what to say.
Ugh. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have any body cams on hand. Any good one that I have pre-screened
I
for
think we're
safety.
okay. The safety, yeah, for safety.
For safety. But honestly, it's probably better if I call it a little short here, anyways, because my neck is
Yes,
killing
I
me.
think we should. I can tell. I can literally hear it in your voice, even more than just the stiffness of your model. I can hear it in your voice.
It's rough today. I don't know
You're done
why.
today. Elf fires orders.
I'm thinking about if I need to like call a doctor.
They actually, what you could do, if you can get go to Walmart, get an icy hot patch, put it on the spot with the neck, and then just lay down.
I could get
like
that.
on a proper pillow. It might feel a little better, depending on how bad exactly you tweaked it.
Fair. Chat, I'm gonna send you guys to Akko. So be good for Akko. And
Thank
you
you
guys,
very much, chat, for hanging out.
you guys have a good night, good day, good evening, whatever you're up to. Let me. I think I can do it this way. Yeah. So bye everybody. You guys have a good one. Bye.
Bye.